Welcome to Armchair Expert. Experts on Expert. We have an unconventional expert today, but when you hear him talk, you will know he is an expert.
Peek behind the curtain, he was going to be a Monday.
Sure.
Because obviously he would be a Monday.
Yeah.
But then it got really interesting. We got into a lot of filmmaking stuff, and it was so cool that it was like, no, you know what?
You were editing.
Yep.
And you text me, what if we moved Seth to Thursday? And I said, no, you have bad ideas.
Fuck you.
You're a piece of shit.
I hate you.
Don't ever think again.
Yeah.
Click. And then I forgot about it, and then you did it anyways.
I just did it.
And now we're here.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen is an actor. He's a comedian. He is a filmmaker. He is a martial arts star.
Yeah.
Remember when he was a kid in Canada, he was all about that karate. Superbad, This Is the End, Knocked Up, Neighbors, Pineapple Express, in a new series that it'll be obvious in the episode. Truly, I love this show.
I'm still dying to see it.
Oh, it's so impressive. It's so funny and impressive, and the plot is like a freight train.
Woo.
It's called The Studio, and it's on Apple TV, March 26th. So please, I couldn't recommend it enough.
I lump him in with Chelsea Handler, of people in this industry who are extremely generous. Mm-hmm. They say yes all the time if you ask a favor.
Yeah.
I don't think people really know that about him, but he is.
I think he's just a lover of it. You know, like there's haters.
Yeah.
There's jealous people. He's a lover.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He loves projects. He pops up in things. He just loves the whole world.
We like Seth.
Yeah. I like when the good guys win.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Please enjoy Seth Rogen.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Something very specific happened.
Oh, what do you want to?
good.
What happened? I already informed him about the robbery.
You did. Well, it's related.
Okay.
Was there another robbery?
There's been a second
Was there
robbery.
a follow-up robbery? They missed some
They
shit?
forgot a few
Yeah.
things.
You know what's weird? That is the only thing that bothers me. Like, I can accept that whatever, the stuff got stolen. It's the notion like, well, are they going to come back? It was
Yeah.
very easy.
Yeah, they had a good time.
Yeah.
Things went well.
That's what's driving me a little bonkers.
And they know we're going to obviously replace the camera.
we have to.
It's just
They
a
know
never-ending camera replenishment.
Exactly.
They open a camera shop down the corner.
Maybe.
Sells the same 12 cameras every
I'd be delighted to buy them all. I would actually, at this point, I'd
Just
pay
broker a deal with them.
Seriously.
like the mafia. I'm willing to pay them $500 a month to just stay away.
Pay them camera protection.
But when I have anxiety, I cut my hair compulsively.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I was like, I have a lot of time. I'm going to really get in front of the mirror, and then I'm going to start trimming my hair.
Trimming your own hair.
Yeah, and I got lost in it. And then I thought, I should just glance them. I'm sure I got 10 minutes left. And I was like, 4 minutes after.
You need to,
Mid-trim.
I was in a state of flow, I guess.
you need a rule. Maybe no cutting before an interview.
I know. I thought it was going to be 3 snips, as I always do.
You
Always
just
do.
couldn't stop. It was too good.
What's your thing that you'll most lose sense of time doing? Is it the pottery?
I would say I'm annoyingly conscious of time all the time, and I wish there was more. When I'm filming, I kind of lose track of time, but I'm also usually have my eye on the clock because there's an amount of time we have to do shit. But pottery sometimes. Watching reality TV, sometimes I'll watch enough of that I just kind of zone out.
Here's another thing I fucked up. I was like, I have so much time. I'll cut my hair. I'm also going to bring a fan down, and I'm going to bring an ashtray.
Oh.
For our guests.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Are you sure?
I am. Yes.
Okay, we love that you smoked weed.
Yeah, that was fun for us.
That was fun for us, but it did lead us astray.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you heard this?
This room is small also. I feel I've now done these types of things where I make people really stoned. And then I'll see them months later and be like, I was so fucked up. And like, there's an apology and then I apologize and everyone feels bad about it.
Well, that's what happened. You did it. And we were like, that was great. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then
We didn't get stoned.
Wiz Khalifa was in.
Wiz
He's got
Khalifa.
Khalifa.
Is that his roach?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, feel free to smoke.
He probably smokes at a different rate than I do. Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
shocking.
He did 5 back-to-back over the course of an hour and a half. And there was a point where I was like, I'm a little lost in my thing here.
Just what's happening.
And I looked over at Monica, and Monica was like this. And I looked at Rob and he wasn't even looking at the board. He was just sitting on his chair hanging out. And I was like,
We've smoked. I've hung out with him a few times, and every time I'm like, this guy smokes a lot of weed.
Yeah. It's kind of impressive because he was fine.
Yeah, he's fine. He just powers through. Yeah, that man doesn't have anxiety. That man.
Who's the Muhammad Ali of it?
Of smoking weed?
Yeah, like, okay, so you were around him and you're like, oh boy, I'm going to have
Snoop Dogg, I mean, probably.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
there's no debating the Snoop Dogg's weed smoking prowess. I was on Howard Stern once with him, and me and him smoked a bunch of weed, and then afterwards he invited me to like his little trailer, which was like a tiny little room, and we smoked so much weed, and it was one of the first times from just smoking weed I had to like cancel my entire rest of the day's stuff, and I was just like, I can't fucking do anything. And then I just like sat in my parked car for like 90 minutes as I like slowly like regained my faculties. But yeah, Snoop's the best though.
There's no point in that for you though where you're at all nervous, right? You're just like, okay, here we are. We're a little too...
No.
Okay.
I will say eating weed though is like a thing that like some of the most unpleasantly high times I've had in my whole life. And this is a life of doing many drugs.
Yeah.
Eating weed is the thing that like can tweak me out where I'm just like, oh, I've gone too far. Like,
yeah, you can go south on you.
Yeah, because it's not pleasant. Like, you know, these other drugs have like a pleasant cushion. You know what I mean? Like, it's
That's
like
the point of them.
That's the point of them. It'll bolster itself with like the pleasant effects of the drugs. But eating weed can just go down, and there's no bolstering. It's like you're free falling without a parachute. Yeah,
It's fun to hear you're afraid of that a little bit. Isn't it like comforting?
We love fears.
Yes.
We love vulnerable boys. Yeah, I've said that a few times where I've been so high eating it. I was like, how could this be more powerful than crack and psychedelics? And
yeah, it is.
And the duration is very up in the air. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a real bummer. Yeah, it's a real bummer. Yeah, I've done way too many shrooms, and that's not that bad. Like in comparison to way too much, because there's at least like a catharsis. No catharsis comes from eating too much weed. I think it's like I should never fucking eat weed again. That's the only catharsis I've had after eating too much weed. Shrooms, you're like, I should do this differently. I should do that. This was a rough trip, but got intense for a while. But at least I came out of it with some sort of insight.
You might dissolve your ego and learn some stuff about yourself.
There's like a sense of accomplishment afterwards. There's no sense of accomplishment that comes with eating way too much weed food. You don't feel proud of yourself at all. Yeah.
So you'll never do it. Eating's off the table.
I do it all the time.
Of course.
What I do is I drink weed a lot now. Actually, there's some weed beverages that are fantastic, and they have like a much more like moderate amount of
like a 5
THC.
milligram.
Yeah, like 3 or 5. Yeah, something like that. Exactly. Okay. That I get down with.
My favorite thing while you were, I want to say you were doing Stern, where you had smoked a bunch of weed doing Stern, but then you were co-hosting with Hoda.
Yeah.
And you got hammered too.
Yes, I got drunk with them very early in the morning.
Because they drink,
Kathy
right?
Lee and Hoda. They would drink.
Yeah.
I could not believe it. Like I thought it was like a shtick. Like you hear like Frank Sinatra had apple juice in that glass. Yeah, that's what I thought. And
they're like Churchill.
They're doing like full. And it's one of those times where you're like, oh, a glass of wine holds almost a bottle of wine.
Right.
Like,
yes.
They just give you like a full glass of wine at like 8:30 in the morning.
Oh my
and they're just like pounding it. And I was like, wow, this is legit. Like they are drunk on television every morning.
God, what a hack.
What a great way to live. Yeah. People love it. Yeah. People
I would love, I really am envious of that experience.
Yeah.
Because for me, I didn't drink in the morning until I did, and then I had to quit. But there were times throughout the year where you did drink in the morning.
Yes.
Camping, sure.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day. Wake up, get out of bed.
Brunch, sometimes a good brunch.
And
I love brunch.
Yeah.
And it's a special feeling
Yeah.
to have the whole day ahead of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wine tasting. I'm glad I never ruined drinking. Like it's something as I was having a martini the other night, I was marveling at. Like I've kept this relatively under control.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I'll have like 2 drinks and that's it. I never have more than that. Like
That's impressive.
I can't. I'm not great at moderation, so I'm impressed with myself. myself.
Yeah.
As I'm doing it, I'm like, look at you, man. 2
You're doing
martinis
great.
and calling it a night.
You know, I have that same inflated pride about not having a gambling addiction because I'm like, everything I've ever touched, if I like it, I do it too much. But I can gamble. I did it Saturday.
Yeah.
Chris and I were in Vegas for like 9 hours. I'm like, let's gamble. Did 40 minutes. Very normal.
That's a good one. Gambling's one of the worst.
Oh,
like,
God, scary.
because you just lose. It's an addiction where you're just burning your money, basically.
You're just losing your life, like literally, not even figuratively.
Yes, there's just like nothing. You get nothing out of it except losing all your money. Yeah, at least drug addiction. There's moments you're like, this is fucking great. I'm on heroin. But
Yes, there's some escape.
yeah.
Rob, who's your favorite guest? The chef we love? Roy Choi.
Oh yeah,
Do you
Roy
know
Choi.
him?
Yeah, I met him. I was on John Favreau had like a cooking show many years ago. We were on it together. Yeah.
Well, he had gambling addiction, and he really shared with us the thing. And I'll say the added fucking burn of that addiction, aside from drugs, is like there is this notion you can get even.
Yeah.
That's the fucked up
horrible.
thing.
Yeah.
Like for me, like day 3 of a crack run, if I thought, I could smoke.
If I smoke enough
two
crack,
rocks,
it'll fix everything.
It'll erase what I did.
Go back in time.
Yes, it has that promise.
That's worse. That is a worse addiction. Yeah.
Like, I'm in deep shit. I've lost the house, but I could fix it all with this addiction.
The right hit will fix it. Will make my brain chemistry know how to solve all these problems. Yeah. Look, I get no pleasure from gambling. I don't gamble at all.
You don't, not even
zero.
like sitting at a blackjack table and like
I will
tapping into the Sinatra thing of it all.
I don't even, because I'm always afraid I'm going to get yelled at and I'm not doing the right thing and that they're going to get mad at me at the table. Like that is my fear. And like that fear overpowers any pleasure I get from it. I'll stand around and watch my friends gamble. I get a vicarious thrill.
What if you went with a buddy who was kind of good at it and he just was like, you 60.
Do this now. I've done that. I've gone with my friends who are like, they're like, I'll be very instructive. And even then I just feel like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, exactly. When you get on the table.
My friend whispering in my fucking ear what to do. I feel like a child. It just doesn't.
He's gambling by proxy through you.
Like it's not fun either being puppeted by your friend at the blackjack table. Yeah, just out of fear you won't get yelled at.
And you have money. We both have money. So
You
it's
too.
Like,
Don't leave yourself out. You're building a house across the street. Everyone's got money in the room.
So you can't tell yourself, oh, it's because I need it. So there has to be something else sort of happening. If someone's just telling you what to do, it's not like, oh, I have a skill.
Well, that's kind of my struggle. I was just explaining. Someone else was on the trip who's big
You should write a
gambler.
book called that.
My struggle.
Mein Kampf.
I will keep it. I'll do it in German.
It's a sticky title.
It is. It is.
That's right.
It did very well.
You can't say it didn't work.
You could argue it was a powerful book.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
You can say a lot of things about him.
It was a sticky.
But to say his book was not effective
It was sticky. It was sticky.
Oh my goodness.
God.
Well, yeah, there's a dude on the trip who like really gambles.
Oh, yeah.
And I was saying to him, I'm in this nether world where I used to gamble with $1,000 in the bank and I would gamble 100, which was a tenth of my net worth. If I won 200, I literally went up 30%.
It was real life altering.
It changed my life. Dramatically that weekend.
That's bad.
And now, like, I'm not willing to go gamble $10,000.
No, exactly.
It's something
That's
that
crazy.
would, yeah.
The best time I ever had at a casino was Danny McBride got married many years ago in Palm Springs, and we all went to a casino afterwards. And it was I was with Adam McKay and Chris Henchy, who is a comedy writer
and the best storyteller alive.
Yes,
probably.
and he's so funny. And they did a thing at the blackjack table that was the funniest thing I've ever seen, where they sat down separately, pretending not to know one another. And then what McKay kept doing would be he would hand Chris objects, and Chris said he was a magician and a sleight of hand magician, and he would keep pretending to steal things from Adam McKay. And it was only for the benefit of the dealer and like the three other people who happened to be sitting at the table. And McKay would be like, I bet you're not that good. And then he'd be like, then how did I get your shoe? And everyone would be like, that's incredible. And I'd be like, that was lucky. How of course you did that. Well, then how did I get your wristwatch? And it went on a very long time. And it was actually one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
And it's so pure.
It was very pure. It was pure for 4 people.
Yeah.
And nobody else. That's it.
What are you watching? What shows are you obsessed with?
I watch Severance. I've been loving Severance. It's amazing.
Walk me through the experience of watching it.
Do you watch it?
Yes, obsessed. We've seen the whole thing because, like your show, we got screened.
But I haven't seen the last episode, so no.
I mean, I started it when it started. I'm a huge fan of Ben Stiller's, and I've known him since I was 16 years old. And he's honestly like one of the people who made me like, you know, and a lot of people I worked with when I was first starting had worked on the Ben Stiller show, and Ben was on Freaks and Geeks, and like the DP who shot Freaks and Geeks had shot the movie that Ben was the star of, like, and he was someone I just like looked up to immensely, and like, and he was a writer and director, and he kind of did all the things that I wanted to do, and he acted, and he was so funny, and so I've always just been a fan of his, and so when I heard he was directing a new show, I watched it right away. I know Adam Scott for a long time; he's the best. And I love it. And it's incredible. And every time I see Ben, I like gush over it because like, I really think that like, and it's sort of like the complete opposite of what we have tried to do with our show, but like, it's like precision and comedy are hard things to marry. Like, and I'd say almost like a sterile level of precision. Like, it's something that like, it's like Stanley Kubrick did it very well in Dr. Strangelove, but it's almost like very few people have actually done it effectively since that, I would argue. And there are things that are like pretty funny with that style, but I think Severance is like a very funny show. And like the fact that they found a way to stylistic, and the story's amazing, and I love the mystery. I watched Lost, which was a real bummer ultimately, because I don't feel like it added up to
they didn't know
the experience. And this feels like it's giving me like the Lost energy. And I have faith that it does add up.
I'm optimistic as well.
I'm optimistic, but I also loved watching Lost. And I do often in my head think like, was it worth it? Like, it's one of those things, like it's a good philosophical question where like, is it worth a great journey if the ending sucks?
It's like a new riddle. It's like there is no destination.
Yes, exactly.
It's a journey we're taking without a destination.
And I am glad I did it ultimately, because like, me and all our friends, we get together, we watch it. It was so fun, but like, it was a real bummer, you know, and we did not love the ending very much. And so I am getting a similar vibe with Severance, where it does feel like it's like a mystery everyone's trying to unpack, a reveal everyone's excited to see what comes next. And like, a lot of people I know watch it, so it's nice to talk about it. But the style of it is unbelievable. Most things that are like frame fucked and like within an inch
when you're
of its
acting
life,
for the camera only,
which it clearly is. Like it's so precise, you could tell they're like poring over every like millisecond of the show. And usually, again, those things like suck the comedy out of things, and this does not do that at all. Like
Wes Anderson can have that kind of meticulous world and comedy.
Yes,
but we could name like 4 or 5 people that have ever kind of
It's like I would say, it's like he's literally probably the only other person to like really do it like that.
And do you like Righteous Gemstones?
I've never watched any Righteous Gemstones. I'm waiting for it to end, and then I'm going to watch all of it.
That's fair. So you can plow through with.
I actually, it's like a treat I've like left. I actually watched the first episode. I was like, I love this so much that I don't want to have like a staggered viewing experience with it.
That is similar, actually. It's also pretty precise. It's like it's shot so beautifully.
Well, you saw the pilot, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, did Scorsese? I mean,
those guys are great. Jodie Hill and
Danny directed the pilot.
Oh yeah, Danny directed the pilot.
Just fucking tracking casino style shots with the money of the church.
Yeah, those guys are great, and those guys are some of the first guys I worked with that really like wanted their comedies to look a certain way. Like,
well, they were film school people.
Exactly. And like Judd, you know, the people that I was making movies with, like, we're not like that. And like, it was very much like, it was entirely like, it was very like performance capture oriented. And like the look of it was always sort of, and I think since then everyone's style has evolved. But at the time it was like, you know, it was like cross coverage. That's it. Like if it doesn't look great, who cares? It's like all that matters is we're like capturing. Well,
and I think in the defense of everyone, like that was the first full embracing of improv all the time.
Yes,
so you couldn't afford to miss someone's reaction.
No. And that's what people liked, and it was working, and it was very alive. And then I remember, seeing Foot This Way, and I made Observe Report with Jodie Hill, who did that show, and it was like all of a sudden I was like, oh, there's like shots in this movie. And I was like, whoa, this is fucking crazy. A whole other way to work. And then I watch a lot of reality TV.
As you said, that's your anxiety release.
Exactly.
White Lotus?
I don't watch White Lotus.
Okay.
I could see you on White Lotus. I could see you totally
Fingers crossed.
Saying it here.
Exactly. I watched your wife's show. I thought that was great.
Okay, great. What a kiss, right?
Oh, yeah. Handsy kiss.
Handsy. It's all about those hands.
I was watching with my Evan.
You're
Aaron Weekly. He's in 6th grade. And we were in Texas on someone's couch. We're staying at someone's house, and we decided to watch the show. It had been out for maybe a week or two.
Yeah.
And
You
we're
were playing it like hard to get.
No, I had been really busy.
Sure,
Something happened, and I was
sure.
actually excited because I was now available to watch it. And we were sitting on a couch, a very tiny love seat in someone else's house watching the show. And that kiss happened. And I was like, oh my God, that's the best kiss I've ever seen on television. He goes, has she ever kissed you like that? I'm like, no. Aaron goes, I don't know who I want to kiss more, him or her. I'm like, the same.
It was a powerful moment.
Can you remove yourself? Like when Leighton and Adam are talking about this too. Like she's like, when I watch the show, I don't see him.
Yeah.
I can't really do that. Like every time I watch Kristen, I see her.
Right. It's like your buddy's making out with.
Yeah.
It depends. I sometimes have a hard time watching people I know in things.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes me a few viewings to like desensitize myself, especially if they're like doing a thing.
Yeah.
Like if it's someone I know and they're doing like a real character, sometimes that like
It's rough.
throws me for a loop.
Of
a
course.
little
They're
bit,
like
I
smoking
think.
cigarettes and they've never smoked.
Yeah, things like that. But then I start to love it. Like I always think of like Jonah and Wolf of Wall Street is like so good and so funny. And I think it maybe took me like a minute where I was just like, what is going on here? And then I was just like, oh no, it's like one of the funniest performances ever, you know? And so at times it takes me a minute to wrap my head around but yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Lauren has acted in things where she's made out with people and stuff
And
like
how
that.
do you feel when that happens?
I'm okay, you know.
Yeah, me
I get
too.
because I also know when I'm doing it that I don't actually feel like I've like kissed the people that I've kissed in movies,
Not
like
one?
for real. Not for real.
Yeah.
No, I for sure have not. I definitively have. I maybe never had one real moment ever while acting
On or off screen.
or just in any moment ever.
Well, because you're in your head. I mean, I think it's smart because you're in your head. You want it to look a certain way.
Yeah.
You have to kind of like.
Well, but
be
how about
aware.
this? Like mine that I'll say in public is I had watched
Lord.
Friday Night Lights.
Oh no.
I loved Lila Garrity.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden on
Yeah.
Parenthood, she becomes my love interest. And like, I'm
kissing her.
like, I'm going to get to kiss Lila Garrity.
Yeah. I'm gonna drop out of character for those moments. I'm gonna drop back in character.
Crosby hat off and put Dax on.
Exactly.
You've heard the stories, right, of like actors who've really had sex, right? You kind of collect these stories.
Yeah.
We were very bummed out to find we had Halle Berry on.
And at Dax asked.
Oh, there's that rumor of her
and she
Billy
said
Bob
no,
on the
there's
staircase.
absolutely
right?
not.
Well,
no,
then-
on the couch with
on
Billy
the couch.
Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were they on a stair? They were on a
Maybe
couch.
I'm
right?
thinking. Maybe I'm conflating.
Staircase is something else. You talked about Staircase.
That was
thinking of
Thomas Crown Affair. They fucked.
or maybe History of Violence. I'm thinking of another very convincing sex scene, perhaps on a staircase. I just have a encyclopedic knowledge of
Staircase fucking.
Oh my God. The fact check is just going to be a list of Staircase.
One of my funniest moments with my oldest daughter thus far that has happened in the 12 years is I was like, Thomas Crown Affair. I love that movie. That snappy scene where with the bowler hat, she's going to love this. And I showed it to her when she was probably like 8. And we're watching it, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about this fucking scene on the staircase with Rene Russo and Brosnan. And it's just going on forever. And I'm like, I wonder if she's going to say anything. And then she just goes, do people really do that? And I go, have sex? And she goes, on the staircase.
And
I go, no,
Not
it's actually
really.
never
No,
happened in
actually,
real life. But in movies, people are
Movies
constantly.
they do. Movies they can't get up to the bedroom. They can't even make it
they
up
just
there.
can't make it up
for
there.
each
Too
other.
horny for the extra 20 feet. 20 feet. It's too much.
Oh God.
Oh, I want to add too. There's a couple things you've said in the previous 2 interviews that really, really stuck with me.
That's crazy.
I mean, like I think about them often.
I never expect anyone to think of anything I ever have said at any point.
It was really aspirational. Like somehow we were talking about business managers or this or that, and you said like. You're like, yeah, I don't know if they've stolen from me. I mean, I've been real. I mean, I hope they have. I mean, you actually said out loud, I hope they have. And I think it's half a joke and actually half insanely aspirational to not be so attached to it.
No, I still am like that. I have very little. Yes, I'm a prime target for serious robbery and embezzlement. I'm signing. I'm just signing everything. You send me a DocuSign, I will send it back.
I hope they have because I still have enough.
No scrutiny.
I have never read a DocuSign
Take it
in my
all.
life, but it is aspirational.
Well, I mean, what I guess I've learned, seen over time is that like and I'm just so not like this, is like money is a thing people really like hoard and have a lot of pride in the money itself, and
I'm so
want to
guilty
turn
of
their
that.
money into more money and love how much money their money is making them and how profitable their money is. And I'm like, that is just like not how I think at all.
Ever?
And like, I never know. Like I have no desire for my money to itself be
out there working for you.
Yes, and out there working for me. And
It's an employee. Your money's an
You don't care if your money's lazy.
for my money. Yes, I don't view my money as lazy. I don't think of it like that at all. Like, and I get how people do it. I know a lot of people
I'm like
do.
ashamed.
Are you like that?
I am.
You love your money to make more money. Again, I think it's a thing people like.
Mine's a fear. Mine's just a fear.
What are you afraid of?
Deeply,
you're going to run out of money?
Yes.
That's not a fear I have. I'm actually have the opposite. I'm afraid I'm going to die with too much money.
Yes.
That is my fear.
You don't have children.
I don't have children,
Yes.
and I'm afraid I'm gonna die and be like, I had shit. I could have had a fucking place on
bought
the
some
beach.
shit.
I'm gonna die.
Yes.
I'm saying, like, I don't want to die with like $10 million in the bank that I could have spent
I
doing
agree.
fun alive things. You know what I mean?
A jet to Paris on a whim.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna look back at
You would never do that,
I could have
right?
been jetting. I could have been jetting this whole time.
I also have that fear.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I'm so nuts about it and I'm such a hoarder. And then I'm going to die and I'm going to be like, all I see now is a bunch of trips I could have taken to Paris.
Yes, that's more of the fear
take
that
the
I
trips,
live
guys.
off of.
But you grew up kind of, I'm imagining it. So I was single mom, money was tight. We were panicked about it. You guys weren't fucking rolling in cash.
Not at all.
But was there no fear around it in the house?
There was, I think, for me, like I actually remember as a young person being very concerned about the amount of money we had. And and a lot of my friends had way more much than us.
Yeah, you also went to a school where there was some haves,
Yes, I went to a school that was like way across town from where I lived. So I like essentially was surrounded by much richer people than me.
Yeah.
And so, it was something that I remember being worried about. But then at a very young age, I started making pretty good money.
That's true.
And I remember being like 18 and my dad being like, in the last like 2 years, you made more money than I have in my entire life put together, basically.
Yeah.
And it was like, that if he lived this long off that amount of money, I'm sure I can live, and I think not having kids, I would imagine people seem to want to leave their kids money, I guess, which is a good thing to do.
Oh, that's complicated in itself.
That is complicated.
And that's complicated in and of itself. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So
I'll tell you this much. I went into this going like, no, you don't give your kids money. It ruins them and they need to be hungry and work and blah, blah.
Yeah.
This is where I started feeling a little guilty. It's like, if I didn't get shit when I grew up, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
All of our family vacations were in a van eating caramels and we slept in the van. I unfortunately have given them a lifestyle that they're going to feel it.
It's too late. Yeah. You can't
They're
go back.
really.
Oh, you can't go back from that.
It's going to jump off a cliff. And I'm like, well, that wasn't very fair to them either.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So now what's the ethical thing I do?
I don't know.
Had I raised them like shit pigs like I was raised with, then I would be like, cool. But it's like,
too late. Yeah, had you just started like that.
Yes.
If you had like another little house on this property that was bad.
yes.
Oh my God, that'd be hilarious.
And we went on vacation. They didn't.
Yeah, you keep them in the bad house.
Little shack. And then when they get out of college and they can't go on vacation, I'm like, yeah, that's normal.
Yeah.
But now the realization, like, you might not travel for 13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's
a
true.
hard.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, you can't go back.
I don't know. I still kind of think it's a good idea.
To not give them anything.
Give
What about
them
when they're
some
old?
amount, but
When they're
not
old.
like too much.
Okay.
I think
Spend
it's
it. Spend it all.
Fuck, do you want to go to Paris tonight?
Yeah, exactly. I was in a Beastie Boys video many, many years ago, and one of the things I remember is they were like showing me pictures or something on one of their phones or something, and they had recently gone to Paris, and there was all these pictures of them in like an incredibly expensive like menswear shop, just in like ridiculous matching outfits, and they were like, oh yeah, every time we go out to a foreign country like this, we all go buy funny matching like tuxedos and stuff like that.
Oh my God,
and I
it's
was like,
great.
that's a good thing to do with your money.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing you'll look back and be like, you'll never regret.
Money well spent.
You're buying matching tuxedos with your three friends with top hats and canes and tails
I
and
know.
going out on the
You
town.
will never regret
if
that.
you're rich, that's a thing that is good to spend your money doing.
I'm struggling with this currently very much about
How much money your money should be making you.
mainly that. No, just kids versus feeling very free.
Oh yeah.
I really, really like feeling very.
Are you a married person?
I'm not married, and I don't have children.
Nothing.
I literally have nothing except that house I'm building for me only.
That's great.
I mean, it does feel great actually, but then I'm like, oh, am I going to regret it later, or is it going to feel empty later? I mean, there's just so much that I struggle with, and I do think like, yeah, I like being able to go on vacation and do it up, fly first class, stay in the hotel.
And not worried if you're fucking your kid up.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm also, I'm very scared of that too.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Oh yeah, when I was young, we would do like these press tours, and I'd be on like a private jet going to do press with like a 9-year-old, and I'd just be like, "This child is fine. He's going to have a hard time coming back to Earth from all this."
Exactly.
Yeah, you're really. It's harder than I anticipated, which is like, well, I worked my whole life so I could fly first class.
Yeah.
They're too young I gotta be with them. So what the fuck am I gonna do? I'm gonna sit back in the exit row next to the toilet?
No.
That feels unfair to me.
It is unfair to you.
Yeah.
It's unfair to everybody.
I re-listened.
No one should have to do that.
I re-listened to the second interview, and I want to publicly apologize. I was coming really hard at you about kids, and then I've censored other remarks you've made, and I certainly was a part of the problem.
Oh no, you were pushing.
I never did articulate what I was going for.
I didn't come out of that feeling as I've never felt you needed to apologize for the record.
Well, it was pretty hardcore full court press. What I never articulated was just like, the real essence of it was I was like, you would be such a fun dad for me.
I would want to hang out with you.
Well, and no, I mean, as your kid, I'm like, sometimes you see people and you go like, that would be a very fun dad. He has the spirit to be a dad. And that's really, ultimately, I think I was just trying to give you a compliment that like, you would be such a fun dad. And I really went too hard.
Being a good parent is nowhere on our on our list of reasons whether or not we would or would not have children. Like, I assume we'd be good parents. Like, we're well functioning people. I know people who are so much fucking stupider who are good parents.
Seriously.
So I think like I do think I would be a good parent, but I just don't think I want to be a parent.
Yeah. I love it. I heard you say something recently, and I was like, that's fucking ideal for him, and I should have shut up. I know it was in the press recently. Him basically just saying that, like, hey man, we're having a great fucking time, and I don't feel like I've missed out, and everything's groovy. Yeah. In a nutshell, paraphrasing.
Things are good.
This is a random question, but I think maybe because of our guest that came out today, which was Nikki Glazer, and we went through this whole thing where she had made some jokes about me, and I was very, very sensitive.
Really?
Yeah.
What did she say?
But it was great. Everything's
on the show or out in the world?
She was going to make it in the Golden Globes, and I had found out that it was too hard for the Golden Globes. And I was like, oh no. And then during the whole monologue, it was just one of those cameras was on us, and I was just waiting to have to fake some positive reaction to being shit on. And then so she didn't tell it there, but then she told on Stern the next morning. But then I purposely didn't want to hear it because I thought I made up these fucking jokes, Seth, that were so mean to me. And I was like kind of just devastated. And then I heard the joke. It wasn't bad at all. And I was like, what a waste of my time. Then we had her on. We talked about it. It was so fun. But I think because she was the guest today and I posted and I was just reliving that whole thing, I was curious, are you sensitive? Like, I'm so sensitive.
Yes, I am sensitive.
Are you?
To people making jokes about me, for sure.
It's really hard,
especially if it's comedians I like.
Yes.
No, what's funny, it's happened a few times. Well, once, like when we made the interview, it was like, we kind of became like open season for like, because we were like the news.
Yeah, because to remind people, North Korea hacked Sony.
North Korea hacked Sony.
In the wake of your film.
Almost started a war. It was the biggest, act of industrial espionage in history, I believe.
It's cool you were a part of that.
That's a cool deathbed.
It is.
Like, I fucked up world relations for a minute.
Yeah.
Geopolitics.
Like, I'm powerful.
Yeah. Well, that's another good lesson. This is like, if you can hit the bullseye, maybe too effectively at times. Yeah. There was comedians that I like making jokes about us in the movie. Whenever they would make jokes that the movie sucked, that just hurt. And like that, I just didn't like. Because that's all I care about. But again, you get over it. And like, it's happened again.
You've been obviously invited to all these roasts.
Yes.
Have you ever gone to one?
Yeah, and nothing of those has ever really insulted me. Those have always been okay, actually. No, I have like a pretty thick skin about, because I also make jokes about other people all the time, especially in our movies and stuff like that. Like, we make a lot of jokes about people. And I've had people come to me and been like, that wasn't wasn't great. Like being in a theater full of people, having them laugh hysterically at a joke making fun of me. Like, I've received like direct text messages from people being like, why would you do this? Why would you do this to me? And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, what's the reaction?
I can't help myself. I'm sorry is the answer. And I've gotten better. I will say I have been in some situations recently where I was going to make jokes about certain people and certain things, and had the foresight to ask the people beforehand as to whether or not they felt as though this would be in poor taste. And when it was told to me in no uncertain terms that it would in fact be in poor taste,
level them for 2 weeks.
I was happy to not do the joke. So that was a thing that I for sure would have. I actually know, and I know enough about myself now to know that, like, I'm drawn in a bad way to like the joke I shouldn't be making sometimes. And I get like a kick out of saying the thing that I know I probably shouldn't be saying.
You get a little buzz.
I get a little bit. And it's not even always the funniest thing. Sometimes it's very personal. Sometimes it's just something I know I shouldn't necessarily be saying. And I used to be much more inclined to do it. And because I think I wanted to show I would do it, or I didn't care, whatever, just like, or I thought it was just funny that I was like treading into these like waters that even if the average person didn't think they were taboo, like I knew in my head, I was like, oh, this is a fucked up thing to say.
You almost fall in it's like you're answering the calling to the commitment to comedy. Like in that moment you elevate it.
Yeah, but I actually thought it was funnier. It's not even always funnier. It's just like a thing that I know I shouldn't be saying. And like, I think I will often still try to serve, like, I mean, again, it's a slippery slope.
Well, and this is terribly corny, but hurt people. There is some reality, and we even had fun talking with Nikki. It's like the bottom line is, I'm really sensitive.
Yeah.
And because I'm really sensitive and insecure, I'm great at seeing other people's sensitivities and insecurities.
Yes.
So it's like you almost have to be a little wounded to even know what to do.
Yeah. Or sometimes you've just tread into an area where like you are fodder for comedy, whether you like it or not. Like that's what it felt like with the interview, where it's just like, this is such a big story. You have to make a joke about it. And I just like got that.
People wouldn't be doing their job.
Exactly. Like you'd feel as though you were ignoring a big thing that was happening if you didn't do it. And in those moments, like, are the feelings of a few more important than like addressing the elephant that all sees in the room, you know what I mean?
Diddy. I mean, there's like just not, it's not going to happen now where that those jokes aren't going to pop up at the shows and stuff. You're just like waiting for it.
I know, and all I'm thinking is, how does Diddy feel?
I know.
I'm pretty worried about
Poor guy.
All I'm thinking is I'm watching this stuff. This guy has to watch these jokes.
Too.
For all of his improprieties, he never really made fun of people. You know, he didn't even earn this.
He didn't deserve it.
That's not what his bag was. He wasn't out there shitting on other people. Before we get to the studio, I just want to say, I love The Boys so much.
Oh, thank you.
God, I love The Boys so much, and I love Gen V so much.
Oh, that's so nice.
How much time does that whole thing take up, and how long can I want it to go forever? I just want it to go forever.
I know, it'd be great. The Boys ends, unfortunately, they're doing the last season.
Oh, now. They are?
Yes, but they're doing another show. We've slowly become the thing we are making fun of, which is like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, good though, good.
And so we are doing another show that's like a prequel called about like the formation of Vought, set in World War II, with like Soldier Boy and those characters.
Wow.
But
good.
The Boys it's a funny thing with The Boys where we, me and Evan we were mostly. It's a very well run show, and the guy Eric Kripke who runs the show is like does such a good job that it makes it that like it does not occupy very much of my time or energy. We were very involved in the very beginning of the show. We like cast the show and kind of designed a lot of the uniforms.
I would imagine you were taking all of your cultural capital and power at the studio to allow that tone to exist and be that bold. And then once that was achieved and rewarded, you could step away a bit.
Well, it was also like Amazon did not have, it was a good moment for us where like it was like we found ourselves at a place who was like looking for its identity in some ways. Right. It's like they didn't have like a flagship show or anything like that. And so they kind of didn't know what it was that they were kind of like the people who are running it like kind of changed over like in the midst of the time we were doing it. So I actually think we kind of just got lucky. No one had any reason to tell us.
There was no brand of Sully or
no, exactly.
Yeah.
And they actually really believed in it. And our pitch was very clear where it's like,
this is a terrible
want the R-rated version of superheroes.
Well, but maybe the X-rated.
Yeah, exactly. Very much so. And like people want like in a world that was like so inundated with superheroes, we were like, people will get such catharsis to see like what this would kind of be like in real life and how gruesome it would be and how gross it would be. And I remember that was the thing we would always say in the pitch is just like your whole life you've seen Superman shoot lasers out of his eyes. You've never once seen how grotesque the effects of that would be on like an actual human's body, you know? And that
6,000
was like,
degrees.
Exactly. And that was like a thing. We were just like, that is what the show is.
Yeah,
like,
we gotta
you've
explore
always
that.
seen just like zzz, and like and the person
someone
just
laying
falls
on the
over.
ground.
Yeah, exactly. And we were like, what would it really be like? They really don't fight us very much on stuff on that show. Like from a content standpoint, like we really like I'm amazed at what they let us get away with.
Well, the reason I love it so much, and Kristen and I'll say this all the time, we're like mid-sequence, we're like, I can't believe it's on television. I mean, half the appeal is I can't believe it's on television.
Yeah, and that's like our favorite tone in some ways is like when you're watching. So, and that's like a thing we've always chased. It's a thing I was actually just talking to my wife about as we were talking about when we saw. I actually think there's something about Barry was like a defining moment in like in. I could always speak personally, but like I do think it was a moment where I saw things in a movie where I was like, I didn't think you could.
Putting cum in her hair.
I always think of the first thing where you see his nuts and dick stuck in the zipper. And like the whole scene is like, they're like, it's so funny because you're just like, they don't show that. And the joke is they're not showing it. And it was still one of the funniest scenes ever, even though they aren't showing it. And then they show it. And I remember that moment, like, I was like, oh my God.
We're going to see something new.
And it was one of those things where you're looking around in the theater at the people around you, strangers, and you're just like, are we fucking seeing this? Is this real? Are we actually in a theater where this is happening? And that's like a thing we've seen throughout the years, like when our movies are functioning like the best, like that is a moment we've been able to like elicit from a crowd. And that's like a thing me and Evan are always like referencing. It's not like laughter and it's not like cheering. It's like, it's disbelief that people were allowed to do this thing and that it also somehow it's actually working and like serving the overall story in the movie and the comedy or whatever it is, you know? And that's a thing that like, we've always like, that's like the dragon we're chasing a lot of the time is like when the audience is just like, are we fucking seeing this? And with the boys, based on a comic, and it was one of the first things me and Evan read, we were just like, I can't believe someone even drew this.
Okay, so the comics are
hardcore. Even more hardcore.
Oh, they are.
I would say if anything, we toned it down, honestly, and made it more comedic. Like the comics are a little less comedic and are a little just kind of like
dark.
Yeah, like dark and violent and gross. And like we added like a slightly more like human, you know, like it's a little over the top with the blood and the popping of the human heads and all that stuff, which I think adds like comedy to it. Which, but no, it's so much fun to work on.
I have a weird question. Were you attracted to dangerous things when you were young?
Well, he's a karate master.
Sort of.
Well, that's controlled danger. I mean, like Dax type of danger.
Yeah, because I played rugby. I was like, I wasn't adverse to danger and adrenaline. As I've gotten older now, I'm very adverse to physical danger. But
injuries,
injury in any way
because of the Todd Phillips thing.
Well, just your comedy is dangerous. That's what you were just describing as like the shock and awe and disbelief of, oh my God, we're going to do this is bringing people along on a dangerous ride comedically, which is always, I mean, is the funniest, really.
Like, I think it is those moments. Like, I think it is all in service of the audience. Like to me, like, I think it is. I've just seen, and I think as a fan of movies, I've felt these moments where I'm like, oh, they're doing a thing that like they're fucking going for. Yeah,
you're attracted to that.
Yeah,
and then your dopamine, like your novelty meter goes up. Like, I'm going to actually see something new and original.
Exactly. Yeah, and I respect. Like, did you watch The Substance? I love that movie.
Yes.
This stuff was so good. And that was like one of those times, honestly, recently where I was like, holy fucking shit. Like, I know Coralie a little bit, and I think she's a genius. Her first film, Revenge, is very, very good. I don't know if you've seen it. I recommend it. It's like another 10 out of 10 movie. But yeah, the subs one of those movies I was watching where I was just like, holy fucking
jaw to
shit.
the floor.
Just like, I didn't think this, like, in a movie that goes, as, like, already showed me it's willing to go as far as anything. Like, I never thought it would go this far. And it, like, I loved it.
It's almost more rewarding, I think, the older you get, because it gets harder to do that to you. So, I was sitting in the substance going like, here we go, man. I'm 18 again.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Oh,
still
for
possible.
Sure. I feel like I was watching, like, Dead Alive or, like, one of those old, like an old Sam Raimi movie or something like that, where you're just like, oh my God. Yeah, those were movies we loved. Dead Alive, which is one of Peter Jackson's first movies, is like this grotesque kind of horror zombie movie that is so gross. And me and Evan would watch it and just be like, oh my God, like this is what we're looking for.
Too much.
This is the stuff right here. Yeah, and Evil Dead and Army of Darkness and those movies were also like, they were so like gross and funny and like, that was stuff we were just
It's amazing the two of you have been able to continue together and not like.
You know, Ann Evans had kids. Yeah. So they have
really
done, like,
amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so before you came in, it was told to me that you were hopeful I would watch all 10 episodes of The Studio.
It's always helpful.
And I go, man, I love them. But this is a
real time
order.
Like, that's 5 hours.
I can watch the whole series. Like, normally I have to watch someone's movie or I watch an episode or two. But
they're half hours.
They're half hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, I got to watch the whole series. So, of course, I go into it with a little like, fingers crossed from the bottom of my heart. And sincerely, I have probably told 40 people already.
Oh, that's so nice.
How much I fucking love it. And within the first episode, I watched 2 by myself. And then I said to Kristen, you've got to go watch these 2 and catch up because we're going now for the next 5 nights. We're doing this show. And then so she too is obsessed. I just plowed through it and I loved it. And I'm so glad I had all 10, to be honest. But I don't know what part of your dick to start sucking first. But
exactly.
Yeah, it's like I want to tease the tip a little bit, but the shaft is calling my name.
That's why I do this.
Holy fuck. I think the first thing I want to just say is like the cinematic accomplishment is I did not see it coming and it's so fucking impressive. Let's go premise first just because I want to get to the one or so bad. But hit me with the premise of The Studio.
It exists in a world where there's just kind of one other studio in Hollywood. There's like Universal and Netflix and Columbia. And then there's Continental Studios, which in our world was founded like 100 years ago.
Yeah. It's an old...
it's like, and it's in our Hollywood as we know it, except there's one other kind of fictional studio. And every other movie exists, and there's the movies that this studio has made, basically. And in the pilot, my character, who's worked at the studio for like decades and has always wanted to run the studio and who loves films more than anything.
Too much in this era.
For sure. Finds himself to be the head of the studio. And it's really based, on our dealings with studios. We've been producing a very long time and writing a long time. And honestly, this one sentence that was said to us by an executive many years ago was like the kernel of the whole ideas. We were getting notes on something and he goes, I got into this job because I love movies and now it's my job to ruin them. And we were like,
oh, wow.
Oof. Like, and that's honestly like something we've seen a lot because we've befriended a lot of executives over the year. We've worked with great executives and not so great executives.
Amy was so incredible at Sony, right?
Yeah.
And Catherine O'Hara seems slightly like a little archetype of Amy Pascal a little bit.
Inspired by her kind of like role in our lives, especially as like a mentor and someone who taught us a lot. And,
I adore her.
She's the best. She watched the whole show. She was very nervous about it, but she loved it.
Wait, Amy
Pascal used to run Columbia Sony.
Yes, and was sort of unceremoniously ousted.
And unfairly.
Yes, sort of in the wake of the interview. Like I would be lying if I was
her emails
saying partially responsible for it all happening, which adds a layer to it all. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
But since then, she's become a very successful producer, and it's a much better job not being. But it's a hard transition, which is something we kind of deal with in the show.
And can we talk for 1 second? Because I, for years, the president of the studio was a threatening figure for me.
Yeah.
It was who I would have to really bowl over and impress in a pitch to get them to buy it. And then to get it greenlit was its own fiasco and so hard. And so I just had this weird relationship. And then over the years, I've been able to step back and I imagine we feel the same way, which is like, might be the worst job in all of Hollywood.
Exactly. Anything you do could get you fired. But so it's a constant dance of how much responsibility or ownership do I take over any given thing? Because you want to be associated with successes and not associated with failures, but you don't know which one is going to be which. There's countless movies that everyone wrote off as bombs that become huge hits, and vice versa. Things that everyone's like betting on as a huge hit that becomes a bomb. And also, it is. Like to us, they're at like, you know, it's like art and commerce are obviously like big themes in Hollywood and in our lives, I would imagine. And they are truly like the inflection point of those things. And they really are the people who every day are faced with the choice of like, do I support creativity or do I mitigate risk and bet on commerce?
These two actors I don't even want, no one agrees they're good, but they're going to secure me X amount for
them. 50 million followers.
Exactly. Or you make the dumber version of the movie and the smarter version. And it's a very fear and panic based job. Because you could actually lose your job at any moment. I've known people that run movie studios for like 6 months.
18 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
They're gone.
They're never even there to see their movies come out.
No, or they don't do anything. So that's actually a strategy a lot of people take, is to do nothing. So you can't be blamed for it. Like a lot of people's strategies are to come in and to try to not make movies.
It's just an all fear run job.
Yes.
I just got getting really empathetic and sympathetic. And I've liked a lot of these people. And now I'm like, God, I feel really fucking terrible. These people I used to kind of hate or was scared of. Now I'm like, oh my God.
It's like hard to fully villainize them once you get to know them. So to us, that was just a funny and honestly, it was during the pandemic. I rewatched the Larry Sanders Show, which was one of my favorite shows ever when I was young. And I was just like, it'd be fun to do something kind of like this. Like, what's our version of this? And like, what's my version of this type of character who's like constantly at odds with what he wants to do and what his job is.
You want to make Ashby films. Like you want to watch, you want to make 70s.
He wants to make art. He wishes he was Robert. He wishes he was Robert Evans in Robert Evans's time. Which he just no one is anymore. But that's what a lot of studio heads are like. That's still currently,
sad, really.
It's
really
a bummer of a job.
It's really sad, but it's funny. It's like inherently was very comedic to us. And that was mostly it, is we would constantly just see these people in these situations where we're just like, thank God this is them, because it's so fucked up and so, and a lot of it is also like, they just want famous people to like them, and they just want directors to like them, and they want writers to like them,
and the writers and directors and actors just want something from the person. It's such a transactional relationship.
At best they like you because you're giving them things, and at worst they don't because you're not, or they just think you're a fucking idiot. And a lot of them just want to be like, if there's like that group of people at the party talking that's like the filmmakers, they just want to be
cool,
invited into that group.
Well, the show starts with Seth's character, Matt. You're visiting set for the first time and Pete Berg's directing. Yes, I don't even think I've put it, other than I've been directing a movie and the president stopped by and I'm just panicked. I don't want him there because I'm afraid I'm going to do a bad job in front of him. But I really underestimated how rough it is for the studio.
They don't want you there. Yeah, they often don't want you there. And and I think that is palpable to them as well. And they just want to be there. Like that's the other thing.
They killed themselves for 30 years to get this job, and then they show up at their movie that they're financing and no one wants them there.
It's really sad.
But you make yourself the joke of the whole movie, which is fantastic. Like back to the sensitivity thing and who you can make fun of. I think it's very fair because you're the one who's probably most embarrassing in all these situations.
Oh, for sure. And it really is tapping into like my own fears. Like I'm a producer now. I produce more things than I act in or write, you know what I mean? And I am often in the position where I'm like, am I making these things worse or better? Like, are people happy when I show up, or are they bummed out when I show up? Are people?
It's hard to know.
It is hard to know, and so that was really a lot of the stuff that I wanted to write about and put into the show was like my own feelings of insecurity, just as someone who, you know, at times we are the people who decide like which movies are getting made and which ones aren't. And we're betting on people and not other people. And we're casting people and not other people. And it really is that like fear that I am, that I'm ultimately mitigating risk as opposed to like nurturing,
taking huge swings,
taking
and
huge
betting
swings,
on your
you know?
passion and gut.
It's weird to be on one side of the line and transition to the other side.
Very much so.
Identity-wise.
Yeah, and that like conflict is really something about like the character that I thought was very funny and interesting. You know, I've never done something like this. I've put so much more work into this than anything I've done in a very long time. Where as far as
it seems so,
yeah, and so I really knew I wanted to be a character that like I thought I could perform in a funny way, but also like.
You're very
really
real.
Spoke to my own
your
personal,
struggle. You can say it.
Like, my struggle. Book coming soon.
Look for the German translation.
Exactly. But yeah, so all those things were really the reason that we made the show.
And so you get this job, but you make this Faustian deal right out of the gates with the chairman, Bryan Cranston, and he basically says like, I will give you this fucking job if and only if you get on board with making this exciting new franchise, Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I have to make Kool-Aid. I have to make Kool-Aid the movie.
Fucking God, a fucking movie on Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Which isn't even that nuts when you see.
It is not nuts.
Not at all. No, it's not crazy
It's like
at
just
all.
enough to be something.
It's like 1 degree stupider. It's like 1%. Not even, honestly.
Probably would make a great movie the more I watch the show.
What's funny is in the show, we come up with like a plot for the Kool-Aid movie, and we really put a lot of thought into it. It's funny, like I watched The Bear, and I really like it, and that was something I would say a lot as we were making the show is like as seriously as they take cooking, is as seriously as we have to take filmmaking. Like we can't pretend that something would happen that wouldn't, and we can't present the audience with an idea that we are telling them people would be excited about. But in the back of your head, you know, they wouldn't make that fucking movie, or that cast wouldn't be exciting, or you wouldn't be nervous talking to this person. It has to feel real also.
Okay, so that's the premise. Ike Barinholtz is one rung under Seth's character.
Yeah.
And fucking, we just couldn't love Ike more.
Yeah.
Catherine Hahn is the head of marketing, which, I mean, I won't
These are all our favorite people.
She's so funny.
Oh my God.
What a monster she is.
Yeah.
She's so fucking talented.
Oh my God. I'd never really worked with her. I did like a table, like a live reading with her once a few years ago. And I've always been a fan of hers. And then it's funny because in the script originally, that character was like, sort of like the straight person, like sort of like the smartest in the room, kind of the most buttoned up, like, and then she came in and was like, no,
get real.
But also was like, that's not who the heads of publicity are. Like they're
supposed to be.
They know everyone. They're kind of in on influencer culture and like they're so online and like so want to be the hippest in every single thing. This trend,
these archetypes are pretty consistent through all the studios.
Oh,
they really are.
Sure. I mean, building up to the show, we interviewed almost every person who runs a studio in Hollywood, almost every person who runs marketing for a studio in Hollywood, people who used to run studios, people, I mean, we did tons of
interviews. People.
Oh, yeah. For hours and hours and hours and
love
hours.
That.
One of actually the resounding feelings from the marketing people was that like they view themselves as more creative than the executives.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we actually make stuff.
Yes.
They do.
Like we actually create things. We're making commercials, content. We're thinking of posters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're thinking of little ads. And they're like, these guys are just sitting in rooms fucking giving notes and shit like that. They're not actually like, I'm like sitting in front of an editing machine.
They're the arbiters of good ideas and we are the creators of good ideas.
And so that was like a really funny dynamic was like that they have extreme ownership. They're incredibly confident, a lot of them, which is also like the dichotomy. Like a lot of the executives are sort of like, you know, me, like they're kind of like Nebuchadnezzar Jewish people who like are, you know, like feigning confidence at best, you know what I mean? But the marketing people are like come from sales and like they have like a whole different energy, you know what I mean?
So true.
And to defend them for a minute, because that other job's so terrible, they have nothing to do with what gets made.
No, they can weigh in. They actually are on the green light committee at some of the studios.
That's true.
Yeah.
But most often they are handed a movie.
Yes.
They're tasked with make everyone in America.
Well, they could have directly been overruled is what happens a lot. They often they will have said, we should not make this movie.
We can't sell this.
We cannot sell it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, guess what? We did anyway. And if it fails, you're the one who's going to get fired.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
they got to polish a lot of turds.
Yes, for sure. That was just a very funny dynamic to add into the show. And and Catherine O'Hara is on the show.
Catherine O'Hara, Canadian.
Fellow Canadian,
We
a
love our
legend,
Canadians.
icon.
Yeah,
literally.
icon.
Yeah.
She's just so fucking perfect and everything.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Okay, the episode that I have to imagine you feel proudest of, I can't stop talking about, is episode 2. It's called The Oneer.
Oh yeah, that was a tough one.
And I don't want to give too much away, but I also want to whet people's appetite because it's an incredible accomplishment. The episode's called The Oneer. It starts with you and Ike driving to visit set. We already know people do not want you to visit set. And the stakes couldn't be higher because
Sarah Pauli
is directing a movie and they're getting a shot at magic hour, which means you have this tiny window of 40 minutes of good light. And then the shot's going to be the camera and it's going to do a Oneer. We're never going to cut. It has to be perfect. And you guys decide to visit in that moment.
Yeah.
Tell people what a Oneer is for people who don't know.
It's a continuous shot. Like the most famous one probably, it's in the show. It's like the one in Goodfellas where they start outside the Copacabana and they go through the kitchen and they weave their way through and they drop the table and the comedian starts performing.
There's no cuts.
No cuts. One long and uninterrupted.
And everything has to be done perfectly.
Yes.
You can't fuck up once. There's no coverage for it. So it's a full commitment.
Yeah.
It's a very famous one at Hit and Run.
Yeah.
Very famous.
It's probably the second most famous one.
It's hit back. Yeah, right.
But by the way, when you commit to one and it works, the fucking exhilaration beats anything you can do on a set.
Because it's a team. It's the real, like, a team sport. Everyone has to hit everything perfectly.
A lot of moving parts.
Cool.
They're very hard. And then the show's so meta. So also they're acknowledging like what masturbation a Oneer is.
Yes, how annoying, how no one notices, how it's just for the filmmakers to get off on their own technique.
Yes.
Totally.
I've even heard stories about people having the existing record on the monitor that they're trying to beat.
That's funny.
Yes. Okay, so what's fucking impossible is the episode is also a Oneer. In real life, the episode itself is a Oneer about a Oneer, and then all the things that are being laid out in the episode are just so fucking satisfyingly woven
The whole
into the
episode is a
conclusion.
Oneer?
Yeah. Well, in the whole show, every
Holy
scene is a
shit.
Oneer on the whole show. So there's never with it, and that's the only one. There's a few episodes where it's maybe only four or five shots throughout the whole thing.
Wow.
But that one is one
For 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That is
20,
really
22
impressive.
minutes.
Yeah. But also, not only are they choreographing their own Oneer, which is the episode, but there's also a real life Oneer
There's
happening
a pretty
in the
complicated
show.
Oneer happening.
Jesus
It's not-
No, it is so
This is
mind scrambling.
incredible.
It's an insane accomplishment.
Thank you. It
Because
was really
it's not
hard.
just the Oneer, it's the layers
magic
of
hour.
payoff.
Yeah, oh
it's
my
magic
God. Oh my God. Holy shit. Did you direct it?
Yeah, we directed the whole show, the whole season. Basically, we wrote the show knowing, and that episode specifically, like we wrote it knowing it would be Oneers. So like it wasn't like a thing we just decided when we showed up. Like, and for that episode especially, like we had to really block basically the entire episode. Like in the days coming up, leading up to it, but not with the actors. So like me and Evan, who I direct with, and the writers, we only had access to this house for like 2 days before we started shooting it. And so as they were rigging the house, we just would walk through it and really try to block it. What we would do is we could only actually shoot for like 90 minutes a day or like around an hour a day because of the light. So we could only shoot between like 5 and 6 p.m. basically. So everyone would show up in the morning and we would rehearse whatever that day's chunk was. And they were like 8 or 9 minute chunks. Like there's very little trickery in that episode.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah. It seemed like you had like 3 cuts.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's like 3 or 4 cuts total in the whole thing. And
which you can't tell. They're stitched beautifully. Like Chris and I we were even arguing about.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Probably there was a hood mount on the car.
There was.
That was somehow easily detached.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Oh, thank God.
And
I just won one argument.
We would do visual effects to erase like rigging.
Sure.
Like, so like that's like a trick we would do.
That's what Chris said. Well, it'd be on the hood. That rig would be on the hood.
No,
like,
yeah, we would erase the rigs and stuff like that. So there was we did. There's a lot of sleight of hand involved, and
this is a cinephile's fucking whack off session. Like we were geeking out so hard.
It was so it was so fun for us. Like it was something for us that it was just like the opposite of how we were always brought up making movies and stuff. It was always about like 2 cameras, improv. We'll figure it out editorially later. Like we just capture a bunch of stuff on the day.
We were doing a play.
Yeah. And we were like, what if we do the exact opposite? And we are like painting ourselves into this corner that we cannot paint ourselves out
because
of.
there's 15 actors in that episode that all have lines. If one person forgets their line,
so scary.
9 minutes into a take, it's back to the car.
Oh, the Golden Globes one was the hardest because of the amount of people. That has a lot of long shots in it, but there's also like 400 extras in every single scene. And so the reset.
So my question about that episode is, did you guys piggyback on when the show was actually being
No, we like threw our own, we like created our own Golden Globes. Yes.
And it's actually in the
place. That's another episode we shot in like 4 days, I think, because we couldn't have that room for very long.
Yeah.
And we had to like load in and load out in the same week. But no, we like threw the Golden Globe.
No, it's a full Golden Globe. So that show has to be functioning as a real Golden Globe show in the background.
Oh,
basically.
We had to cast so many people, and the choreography of it was unbelievably complicated. But I think it really it's funny because as we were doing it, we're like, I don't even know if the average person will be able to articulate what is happening here. Like the energy of it, I think, is what we were excited about.
Well, okay, so another achievement of the show is you have fucking plot. Like a lot of comedies really don't have plot, or they don't have an engine. And these fucking episodes, every one of them are so stressful.
Yes.
They're really, really stressful.
Really
the tension is thriving throughout the whole show.
I think it adds to the tension.
And that's because of the oneers.
It's because you're never cutting. And I think it's also because it never settles into like a rhythm of like cutting back
There's
and
no
forth
breathing
between 2 people. You're never like settled. And that was always, we were always like, the tone should be stress and panic. And so
it is.
And also like, and there's only A stories in the episode, which I think was also like conducive to that type of storytelling, is like, we're never cutting between. It's like, you set up my story and I'm doing this thing, and you set up Ike's story and he's doing this thing. Like the stories are all singular. And so that also helps with like the singular camera and the singular kind of style of being in the room with the characters. And to me, that was like, from like a writing standpoint, like that was like, you know, it's funny. I did these table reads. It's actually where I met Catherine Hahn for the Netflix is a Joke Festival a few years ago. And we did a live reading of Seinfeld scripts.
Oh, I remember.
And I was Jerry, and Aziz Ansari was George, and Jack Black was Kramer, and Catherine Hahn was Elaine.
My God.
And I feel like in reading them, it was like the Rosetta Stone or something like that. Like I was like performing them, and I was like, it's all the structure. Like it's all like
AI could probably direct these,
and it's not even like the jokes. It's like it's the order of the scenes and the raising of the stakes, and I was like, that to me is like what I would want to do with a show, is like create. It's like true situational comedy.
And then also the score, you have this like kind of chaotic jazz.
Yes, it's like
that's
nonstop
fucking
drum.
nerving you up to no end.
Yeah, it's like never rhythmic. That's what we'd always tell the composer. We just like never have it settle into a rhythm. Like whenever it feels rhythmic, it would get boring. It's like always make it like a little off and uneasy. And and it really is stressful.
So driving home the night of the episode, The Oneer.
Yeah.
Did you get a burst of elation?
I was pretty happy. It was also the first, you could also watch it like the next day.
Yeah. You don't have to wait for an editor to assemble it.
Yeah, exactly. I was honestly really nervous about how we were shooting the show. And I would talk to my wife, Lauren, a lot about it. And I talked to Evan a lot about it. The first few weeks, especially, I was just like,
are we fucking up?
Are we fucking up? Are we making a mistake? Are we so up our own fucking asses with this that we're just like sacrificing
the best take of an actor
or whatever? Are we? That was my real fear. I was like, is it less funny? Like, are we making it less funny in service of this style? And I kept being like, no, like I really think we thought of this because it would be additive to the tone and the comedy. And then I saw it cut together and I was like, I was like, thank fucking God. And I like was so excited about it, so happy by it. And when we finished the Oneer episode, I was really happy. And Sarah Polley to me also is like someone I've known a very long time. I was in a movie she directed like 15 years ago or something like that. And And she's such a funny person and such a funny actor. And she's someone like Go was one of mine and Evan's favorite movies. And like is really like was inspirational to us, you know?
It's wild and frenetic and nuts.
Exactly. Like, and I think it's like a tone that we really like I think
Scary.
Pineapple Express is like very inspired by Go.
Yeah,
like it's really like, and Dawn of the Dead, like I was just always a huge fan of hers. And then I worked with her and I'm just like, she's one of the funniest fucking people I've like ever been around.
But again, you have a non-actor in this kind of high stakes situation where she's going to have to hit all of her beats really
and
well.
She like nailed it. She couldn't have been funnier. Yeah, that was the thing with the show where it would get, we have a lot of non-actors on the show, filmmakers, writers, directors. And so, that was another fear I had where it's like, we're taking these non-actors and essentially asking them to do like the hardest
kind of acting you can do
as an actor, which is like, now you got to be a part of this like 7-minute scene.
Yeah,
If you literally say one word wrong, we have to start over.
And we got a 50-minute reset for this.
Exactly. And sometimes, it's like literally we got to get back in the car, drive back, because sometimes we drive back up the block.
You're breaking shit all the time.
Traffic, I'm falling. There's
you fall a ton.
There's stunts in the show.
My God.
Like, so what you were saying, it did become like a real team effort. And those are also like my least favorite moments on sets often is just like, you're sitting on an Apple box, like the crew guys are on their phone because it's just like, okay, now it's this shot, now it's this shot, now it's that shot. And like, 1 out of 200 people feel like they're working, and that's kind of the person who's on camera, And then I've been in some movies. I got to be in a Steven Spielberg movie, and he had these very elaborate shots sometimes where it was like, oh no, it's all going to play in this one shot. And I would just see how the whole crew would come together.
Energized over it.
It energized and be so psyched about it. When you're watching it on
right. People
playback
rarely all do their job at the same time.
Exactly. It almost
simple as
rarely happens in a movie or a TV show. Where everyone's really working in concert with one another.
That's why people like theater. Doing theater, because it's everyone coming together.
Yeah, and in this, even if you had 2 lines in the scene, it was so fun. And it was like you didn't feel like you were just like window dressing or just like waiting for your part. Like you were an
You're part of a 13-minute
You're
fucking
part
sequence.
of a huge scene.
That's so cool.
And it was really, that was another reason that, it was partially procedurally alluring to us.
Yes. So I think there's a lot of ways you can be a good director.
I have like a very pragmatic, I really, I think, have grown a better understanding of like what is needed to accomplish these things and how much time it'll actually take and how much preparation it will actually take. And so we're like very prepared. And there was that, like, it would get very discouraging at times, the shooting style where like, I mean, we would joke often that until like sometimes like the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th take of these long sequences, it's just like not even fucking close. And we would be looking at each other being like, is this the one? Like, is this the one that like we can't do? And sometimes it's just like an equipment, like sometimes just like the camera has to like latch on to the car and the fucking magnet keeps fritzing out. And like, it's like not even like it's just like not even human error. It's just like a technical, we're relying on technology to do what we want that isn't as reliable as you would hope it is sometimes. And sometimes it's just like an actor just like keeps like missing the thing or tripping over the thing.
Can you imagine if you fucked up your line twice?
No.
Oh, bad.
I don't know how you ever get it.
I feel comfortable saying this because he's my dear friend, but David Krumholtz is in a few episodes of the show, and he's at the and there's a very complicated sequence of me entering the Golden Globes where like it literally starts in the limo and then I walk the whole red carpet and then I walk through the lobby.
He's got a Jew joke. He's got to hit you
exactly. And then I walk through the ballroom and it like starts in the car outside and ends with me like in the ballroom of the Golden Globes. And I'm like interacting with a bunch of people throughout it. Adam Scott's in it and Ike and O'Hara and all these people. And the last moment is me and Krumholtz, and it's like a 3-line exchange.
No.
And there's 500 extras, cars, limos, all this shit. And
he's just got 9 minutes sitting in a chair waiting to fuck up his line.
But he's probably
exactly. More and more nervous. He sees the machine like coming towards him. He's like,
you guy is holding his side somewhere.
Yes. You like see the train rolling down the tracks. And I will say God bless him, because like I would tell the actors like, look, if you genuinely think you've thought of something that is better than what we've written or additive, and if it comes to you in the moment, I would be like, I want you to do it because I don't want it to be too rigid and I want it to feel alive.
You don't want to sacrifice that magic.
Yeah, and I don't want to sacrifice that. I just know great stuff comes from that. But I was be like, but just know if it's not good, it's fucked up everything.
Yeah.
So like I would
workshop it in the makeup trailer.
I would be like, I'm trusting you to gauge in your own head whether or not you think I will think it's good enough to warrant this risk you're taking. And Dave several times was just like improvising stuff that, and even he would do it. We would cut and he would just look at my face and be like, I should have said that.
He is one of my favorites and he's spectacular in your show.
He's so good on the show.
Oh,
he's one of the best. And then he nailed it. And he's so good. And honestly, like, I think some of our moments are some of the best moments in the show because, and we would put him in it more after that because it is so alive. And you do feel like I don't quite know what he's going to do. And at its worst, the show in the earlier takes, like, that was always like, to me, the scary zone is like, we would start to get it, but it would just feel sort of rigid. Like,
After you,
like it would just feel kind of like, because everyone was like too focused on like hitting the mark and the timing and is the camera pointing in the wrong place. And that's why it's good to have like agents of chaos like Dave in there who in some ways just can't say the lines in the same way twice. Yeah. And Han was like that too, where she would just say other stuff. And you could see there's like a moment where everyone's like, oh no, like, is this going to cause like a major problem?
But then that becomes its own fun thing for you to play with, right?
Very
Which is
much
like,
so,
you're scared the whole time. And your character's always
actually
scared.
stressed out. Actually, like quite on edge that we're not going to get it.
Oh, there's something so like kids in a playground about
it. Really felt like, and it is how that's what was also fun about it. It's like, it is how kids film things.
Yeah.
It's like, you just point the camera at who's talking and you walk around and like, and that's it. And so there is that energy of like, it did feel a lot like that. And like, it was really
It's
fun.
a cool way to keep yourself interested after year 30. It's like, you got to do something to wake yourself up a little bit.
Definitely.
I'm afraid of the next show you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Underwater.
What are we going to do? Yeah.
You know what I heard is impossible is underwater.
It's all in space. Upside down. Yeah, no, me and Evan, like, we kept saying as we were doing it, we're like, this is one of the most like creatively invigorating things we'd done like since we made Superbad. Like,
how long did it take you from start to finish writing it and then shooting it and finishing it?
We probably conceived of it, it was I was shooting The Fabelmans when I first thought of it. So that was like maybe 2.5 years ago or something like that. And then it maybe took 6 months for us to like start writing it. Mm-hmm. And then I think it took like a year of writing the whole, because we wrote the whole show basically. And then we shot the whole show. So like not that long actually, like on the grand scale of things.
With how intricate it is and how well done it is, I any amount of time would not have shocked me.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope you're able to do this. So the fucking, appearances are one after another. Like Martin Scorsese's in it, Steve Buscemi, Ron Howard's in it, Charlize Theron's in it, Zac Efron's in it, Olivia Wilde's in it, Ice Cube's in it. It never stops. Yeah. And when I'm watching that, I'm so happy for you because to me that is this crazy reflection of what you've built over 25 years. Like you can call Martin Scorsese and he'll show up and do your thing.
I can call his manager.
Ultimately, he has to
I've
say
never
yes.
met Martin Scorsese.
But like there's a lot of accomplishments on display.
Yes.
There's the technical accomplishment, there's the writing, there's the life story of you and Evan, but also there's like
the goodwill.
A life, what you've built goodwill wise. Did you like it's all there.
Yeah, it was part of my whole thesis in general is to try to over deliver. Like I don't take any success for granted, you know what I mean? And so that's also always just been like, when we made This Is the End and all these things, we were just like, give people more than they're expecting. Like, don't tell them it's Hollywood and then have a few people and try to sell that as Hollywood. So that was something for us that was very important is we were like, if it's going to be about Hollywood, you have to believe that these are the people a studio head would be excited by, intimidated by, wanting to impress, wanting to befriend the actual people who are in movies and we're not trying to tell you like,
some fake movie star.
Yeah, this
like,
guy's in a movie,
this is the Tom Cruise of this show.
Exactly. Like we really didn't want to do that. And Larry Sanders, again, was a thing that was like hugely inspirational for that because as a kid, I remember like seeing.
That made it real.
And Sean Penn's on it and Jim Carrey's on it and Tom Petty's on it and Elvis Costello's on it and all these great comedians and actors are on it, and I was like, that's part of the fun of it. Is that they got them, and that and it feels real as a result.
There's so many that Kristen said to me mid-episode. Do you ever start feeling offended you're not in something? You see so many people
hope for second season to make it honestly. The whole time we're just like, I just hope this is easier the second season.
She's also an acting robot. She would have killed those waters.
She's built for a oneer.
Yeah, I mean, and it was a mix of people because also we didn't want to only do people that we know and that we work with and they're kind of like associated with us. So it was kind of like a mix of people that we didn't even know that well. But do
you have a relationship with Scorsese?
No, I'd never. I met him once for 2 seconds before this.
It was a cold call.
We really tried to make the roles good. Honestly, that was like a big part of it was to like, even if you had one joke, we wanted it to be like a great moment and to not feel like you're just kind of there.
They're not obligatory.
Exactly. And they're not just like extras in the scenes. Like everyone has to have like a moment that they can really like sink their teeth into. But it was really hard. And we spent a ton of time rewriting the scripts for people and talk because people also like they want it to be good, and once they commit to it, they're like, okay, like what if I do this and what if I do that? And it was always very welcome.
Everyone that came had some leverage.
Everyone has leverage. You want them to think it's funny, and that's the other thing is we're always just like we want you to be excited about this. Like we don't want you to feel like you're doing us a favor. We want you to feel like you're getting to do a thing that you think is cool. You know what I mean? And so it was by far one of the biggest challenges of the show was to get all these people and to schedule it and to not let them down, honestly. Like that's as the show is coming out.
Did you find it hard to direct these huge people where you're like, oh fuck, I gotta tell?
The answer is yes.
I have to tell Martin Scorsese what to do.
It was different. Like I'm intimidated. Yeah, like I don't talking to the actors is the thing I struggle with most as a director, I think. And it's also because I'm an actor in the scenes, and some actors just don't like to be directed by the other actors. Like, that's like a thing that it's like, I was me and Olivia Wilde were talking about it, where it's just like and she's actually the only one that noticed, like, me and Evan would kind of do like a good cop, bad cops thing, where like I would be in the scenes and be like, great, perfect. And then I'd go to Evan and be like, tell her to slow down. She's not hitting her mark. She's not saying this line properly. And she actually was the only one that clued into it. But like, it's really hard. Yeah.
I had to do a thing with Michael Pena, and I didn't figure this out until like 2 weeks into shooting, because we're in every single scene together and I'm directing it. And about 2 weeks in, it occurred to me, he doesn't hear me give myself a note.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All he hears is me say something to him. So like 2 weeks in, I go, I need you to know. After these takes, I go like, that was too slow. I got to speed it up. I give myself notes, and then I come to you. I just want you to know, I don't think I'm doing it perfectly. I'm berating myself, and then I go on to you.
No, it's really hard. Like I would have a hard time doing it alone. Like having a partner makes it much easier, I think, in a lot of ways.
Because they got to be a little suspicious. Like, how the fuck does he know what happened? He's inside the scene with me.
The scene, yeah. A thing that would happen is like the people I was in the scenes with could tell when I just was dropped out of it. Like they were,
that was, oh my God.
It would just like look at my face and be like if something, because I was also very aware where the camera was and what it was capturing at all times. So there'd be times I would just see like, oh, the camera guy just like he just missed it. Like you started talking too soon, and then I would just like my face.
So that's easy to call cut on, but I think the thing that would be hard, how on earth did you manage when someone did a shitty delivery of a line minute one of a 5-minute oneer? Did you go like, oh, I'll just go through to the end, or will I just be brave right now and say cut?
It depends what take it was, because also you got to navigate like just not bumming people out like that. Like, and that's something me and Evan talked a lot about, and that's something we actually learned a lot in like improvisational comedy, is like it's a fine line between, you know, directing improv and just shutting people down. And sometimes we would let people go on these runs for 10 minutes where we're just like, this isn't going to be in the fucking movie, but like they seem to really think it's funny, but let them do it, you know, like we'll get 10 other good things out of them today because we didn't tell them this sucked, basically. And so that was math that would happen in our heads. Sometimes if it was a hard reset, I would stop early because I would just know like, oh, once this happens.
No, because then I'm blowing like, 2 hours.
Exactly. it's going into a new zone. But like that was like a big, that was something we were constantly navigating.
Well, this is the most I've ever talked about a show when someone was promoting a show, but I have still yet a couple more questions.
Great.
One is the other thing that I became hyper aware of is like your own aesthetic, or at least what I think is your aesthetic, is really on fire. Every single house we go to is an architectural masterpiece. Like
I complimented Seth's outfit when he got here. It's very nice. Are those Bottega shoes?
They are.
Yes, very
He's
nice.
like a little style.
I know.
He's a style boy.
You can do that when you don't have kids. You can spend
It's
all
true.
your money on clothes.
Couches,
And
clothes.
It's a thing I'm like sort of making fun of myself with, which is like, I like all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, of course, for me, I got hyper focused on all the cars. So every episode, Matt Remick is driving a different 60s
a different old
foreign
car.
There's an MG, then there's an old Merc, then he's in a 53 Vet.
Yeah.
You don't have a car thing though, do you?
I do like old cars.
You do?
I don't have like a collection of old cars.
Do you have any old cars?
I have a Carmen Ghia.
Oh, you do?
And
That's perfect for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have a Studebaker Lark, which
you
I actually
do?
drive one in not the one in the show, but I have one like that one that we drive in the Winter actually.
That's have you ever eyed an Avante? That feels.
Those are beautiful. Yes. Yeah, those are amazing. I like those.
Oh, I'll add to the complexity. He's driving these old fucking 70-year-old cars that are all stick shifts up. Even in the Winter episode, getting in the driveway for real. I'm starting thinking like, he's got his hands full. He's directing this thing. I was just driving that
and
car.
I'm driving so fast in that episode. Like Ike was so scared the whole time we were doing it.
And you have a look on your face when you drive. I started clocking it. You almost like lick your lips as you're navigating.
Also, there's a giant fucking camera.
You can't see.
I can't see.
You're in an irreplaceable car. If you fuck it up, you're down for the day.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff
Lord.
is like, I mean, I've always found it's when we made This Is the End, honestly, there was like, we were designing the house for the show, for the movie to be set in. And like, at first the joke was like, it's a douchey, over the top, overly stylish house. And by the end, I was just like, oh no, I just made my dream house.
Yes. You're like Nancy Myers in this way.
It worked in both ways though. Like I think to the average viewer, it was a douchey, over the top house. And to me, it was my dream house. And so that philosophy carried through and also like, to me, and what me and Evan joked about a lot is like a lot of my memories in Hollywood are being in like beautiful places with beautifully dressed people screaming at each other about the stupidest shit ever.
Yeah.
And that was like an energy we wanted to capture is like,
They should be happy.
It's like, it's glamorous and it is. And it's like institutional and it's like been here for decades and great architects have built these homes that people live in and they're these beautiful homes. And then you're in there just like screaming at each other about like how much of the guy's balls you can show in the movie. And like that's like, we have Amy Pascal, this like gorgeous architectural house and the studios are very beautiful. A lot of them.
So
like,
is this real?
No, we built that completely.
Okay, I got really angry because we're watching it and you seem to be on Warner Brothers for lots of this show. And there's a Frank Lloyd Wright building.
Yeah. In the show, the idea is that Frank Lloyd Wright like designed the main offices for the
in the Mayan period.
Exactly. Right? It's like Mayan revival. Yeah.
And so I was like, I fucking worked on that lot for 2 years and
there's a Frank Lloyd Wright building.
I was angry. I was beating myself up for having missed that. That's entirely fabricated.
Entirely fake.
Thank God.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. Because I could see where it was positioned and I was like,
it's where the Warner Brothers did. Yeah,
you kind of buy into it. It's like, oh yeah, I could see that at
It was
Sony.
part of the idea of making it seem like old and monumental and like and like a lot of these studios are gorgeous. Like the Paramount offices are beautiful and the Sony, the Columbia offices are these like Art Deco marvels. And again, it's like so much like artistic thought went into the building and then like inside they're making the dumbest decisions of all time. They're so bucking against any creative freedom as they're like standing in this like these like cathedrals of cinema that are like that people were given free reign to make beautiful places with lots of money.
Is a metaphor,
and to us but I'm just a huge architecture fan and I love Frank Lloyd Wright buildings in LA especially, and they are all this Mayan revival. But there's a great documentary about Frank Lloyd Wright, and it talks about how all of his buildings in Los Angeles are essentially uninhabitable because he had suffered like a terrible family tragedy before he came to LA, and they are all very tomb-like.
This one right down the street, the Black Dahlia house.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like constantly being renovated.
They have like a sarcophagus esque vibe to them. And to us, that was like a funny work environment for a lot of reasons, because it feels very old and it feels like we're trying to like uphold this like days that have gone by like institution, and that it also has like
you're in prison a little bit.
We're like in prison. We're like encased in this like tomb basically.
A big cement blob, really.
But it's also kind of beautiful. And all the houses in the show are John Lautner houses, who is a student of Frank Lloyd Wright, and who we like the idea also that like a lot of his houses are in movies. Like like in Lethal Weapon 2, the Garcia house is a John Lautner house. So yeah, we also like this idea that it was like an architect whose work is in film.
He's like made for...
Exactly. And a lot of the music in the show is from other movies and stuff like that. And we like are trying to reference...
Chinatown.
Yeah, we use the Chinatown score. We use the Long Goodbye music.
I also started adding up your budget as I was watching. I was like, he got a nice...
It was pretty good.
This show. This
Tech company.
Not a cheap show.
Keep buying those iPhones.
Please.
Yeah.
Wait, I always ask this when we have people on who are in creative partnerships where one person's more of the like face, and same with Ike and Dave, same situation. Has there ever been tension there? No. He doesn't get
It occurred to me on this interview, Monica, I was like, it's time the next time
we need to have
here
Evan
to have it.
Yeah,
would he be up for that?
Totally.
I was like, it's starting to feel immoral for us to not include him.
Whenever I'm on Howard Stern, he's also fascinated with Evan, and he's always like, what is his deal? Like, what, like the fact that Evan has no desire to be in front of the camera, I think is an instrumental part of our dynamic. And that he is not jealous of, if anything, he's like, I'm so glad I don't have to do all the stuff that I have to do as the performer in the things.
Because sometimes that gets tricky. I mean, that's tricky we had also Phineas with Billy, obviously. And I was like, how are you guys doing it in a way but some people just don't care.
But it's also reflective of us personally.
Well, of course
it's always an interesting.
Of course I find it interesting. Because it's not that easy for us. It's a little more complicated, I think.
I know so many partnerships that have broken up over the years.
Yeah.
And have, like more than haven't actually.
Right.
Like I know a lot of teams that have split up.
We had a therapist actually say to us, we were producing a show.
Things were getting real hairy for a second there.
And she looked at us and she said, you guys are in the Beatles. Look what you guys get to do.
Yep.
And what you make.
Yep.
Don't fuck it
Beatles
up. We were both like, that's really great. Thank you for saying that out loud. Yes, that's true.
It's true. But when you're in it, you can feel like I'm not getting this recognition, or I'm not getting this, or no one knows I do that. I could see for Evan or Dave or even for Phineas, like no one knows what I'm doing. And maybe they don't.
But it's interesting because like Phineas doesn't have that. Some people have it, but he knows damn well what he's doing.
Yeah, Evan too. He doesn't care at all. Like he does get a lot of credit for a lot of stuff.
I'm sure he's got a really nice house.
It's great.
He'll probably leave his kids some money.
Exactly.
Well, Phineas said something really interesting. He said, actually, he's like, I get attention, but it matters that Billy gives me the recognition.
Yeah.
Like if she wasn't doing it, then I'd have a problem with it. If like within the partnership, there wasn't that like, acknowledgement.
Definitely. I feel very fortunate about it. Like, and it's not lost on us. Like we recognize it. Like we are like, isn't it great that we still like each other and we still work together well? And his life is very different than mine in many ways. And we've found ways to navigate that. And he has kids and I act sometimes. Like it's things like that like we both have things that pull us away from like just writing and directing together. But we've never, thank God, really had like any issue. I feel very lucky about it. Like it's very fortunate.
Okay, last question. In the show, you're acknowledging the real context of our industry, which is like movies are harder and harder to get to make money.
Yep.
It's just gotten more stressful. They make less movies, less of them work. The whole thing's terrifying.
Yep.
You perfectly pivoted into TV. And I wonder, did you consciously do that, or did it just accidentally happen? Like when I look at a lot of your peers, you somehow went perfectly into doing virtually what you were doing in movies and TV.
It was sort of conscious, I guess. Like I think what's good is we are also able to keep making movies just in a different way than we did before.
Yeah, but like making a $30 million comedy that's going to make 120, that's just off the table pretty much.
Yeah, no, we want it like Ninja Turtles to us is like a movie that we can write that's like a high school comedy that is really fun and we love it. But in order to make that movie now, it has to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know, and it's a lot of ideas that we would put into any movie, but it's just like,
or Barbie for me. That's a comedy. That's a straight up comedy.
Exactly. So like I think we've always been realistic, like as to what
the market can bear,
what the market wants and can bear. And like, you know, we made Knocked Up and Superbad, but very quickly we were like, we got to add machine guns and car chases to this shit, or it's going to start to feel the same. And after that, we're like, oh, we got to add like demons and monsters and like meta celebrity in order for this to feel new and relevant and something that
you got to top
is
yourself.
like a draw. Yeah. And so we've like, I don't know if we've ever like spend that much time like lamenting the trends and instead have tried to really like see what is working and work through that, you know what I mean? And so with television, that for sure was like a conscious thing. We're like, oh, now you can do shit in television that used to be the stuff we did in movies. And it's different, but it's kind of the same.
Yeah. Now on the other side of all of it, and as much as I like lamented the disappearance of all that, and I suffered, I've made movies that didn't work in this fucking era. I also recognize like I am so glad The Boys isn't a movie.
Yeah.
God, am I grateful for that's many seasons. So on the other side of it, have you found making TV is just as fun or even more?
I mean, we had so much fun with this show. And I think part of it to me, like I've actually always struggled with like, you know, I've always been able to really wrap my head around writing movies. And I actually think writing TV and movies are very different, as is evidenced by the fact that there are like brilliant TV writers who write terrible movies and brilliant movie writers who make terrible TV shows. Like they are not the same skill set.
Yeah.
And I actually did always find like I struggled to be a meaningful contributor on a lot of our TV shows because I think the thing that I had a hard time wrapping my head around was this like 7-hour movie idea. Like, and that's like a thing a lot of people talked about. It's like, oh, it's like a season of TV. It's like one long 7-hour movie. And then with the studio, one of the big revelations for me was like, no, like it is not a serialized show, basically.
Right? It's very episodic.
It's very episodic, and I actually was like, oh, I can actually really wrap my head around one 30-minute movie, basically. You know, like something with a beginning, middle, end, a setup, and a payoff. We set up the thing and pay it off throughout the thing, and then it ends. And so, to me, like that's a thing that is exciting about television is you can sort of like create your own type of narrative, and they're just much more open to risk. I mean, in a long time ago, this, you know, in the 80s, maybe this would have been a movie in the 70s or something like that. Yeah. But this was conceived of for TV, like knowing like, oh, this is not at all the type of thing that they would make into a movie, but this is exactly the kind of thing that they would make into a well-budgeted TV show, you know, but we still have movie ideas. Like we are working on movies and we would like to keep making movies, but we just try to be realistic about like what, you know, I saw One of Them Days with Kiki and Palmer and SZA, and it was fucking hilarious, and it did well. R-rated comedy. I saw it in the full theater, and I was like, "Look, like it works. It can still work." Like, I actually think I just saw Judd give an interview where he was saying, like, if The Hangover came out today, it would fucking annihilate. Like, I think it's a trend thing. Like, I do think it ebbs and flows, and I do think that there are moments where all seems lost, and then
Barbie comes out,
and then a movie comes out where you're like, oh no, like people are into this stuff.
But also I'm watching Fall Guy and I'm like, this movie is flawless.
Yeah, it's good.
It's got everything you would ever want. This thing should make half $5 billion globally.
It's just too expensive. Like I think that's the thing you have to be smart about also, and that's the thing we've always tried to really consider is like, you have to be realistic about how much your movie costs and what you're asking of people. You know, if I was making what was essentially like a romantic comedy, I would not spend like, you know, 80, 90, $100 million on it. I try to spend like 20, $30 million on it or something like that, you know, and that's always been part of our philosophy, you know, but I think movies, like we're never as like existential about it, I feel like, as some people get. Because I think I've personally seen these trends kind of ebb and flow just throughout the time I've been here. You know, and like Sandler makes movies that are on Netflix, but they're great and people love them. And if you, it's funny, like me, I was out to dinner with Aziz and we just were talking about comedy and the waitress was there and she's like, who's the best comedian alive right now? Adam Sandler. Without skipping a second.
Yeah.
And
She said it or you
She
guys?
said it.
She said it, yeah.
We were like, nothing. Like, we don't get an obligatory nod.
We're right in front of you.
And so, like, to me, those things give me hope. Is like people still like these things, that people always will want a comedy movie. You know what I mean? It's just the system has crumbled a little bit. Like when I was younger, you could write a funny movie, they would buy it and then cast it.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very much anymore. Like now they want you to have everyone attached, but actors don't want to get attached. Kind of rightfully so, because it's a lot of, you're exposing yourself. And if you attach yourself to a thing and no one buys it, then you could feel as though that's a knock on your career.
You don't have any capital.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also, like, that shouldn't be the system. The studio should just
buy into the idea of it.
script
Yeah.
if they like it. And trust me, once that movie exists and is going to be made, you will be able to cast it. Actors who are great, who know it's a real thing, who aren't exposing themselves and their name instead of studios doing what they should do, which is buy and develop films and then decide which ones to make and then cast them and hire directors and make them. Like, that system has gone away a little bit. And I think that's out of just pure terror and risk mitigation and panic and all the stuff that is in the show. And it's people thinking that will give them a more sure bet, but it's also negating the entire system that's in place of like executives like developing ideas that are hopefully good and working with talent that is hopefully good.
Well, I love it, man. I'm so glad that I got to see all
That's
10.
so nice.
I feel
of you.
very
I really
lucky.
appreciate it.
It comes out on March 26th on Apple Plus, and it's spectacular. And this is number 3, and I can't wait for number 4. And
We'll get Evan in here.
Yeah, we have space.
You do. I'll tell him.
Yes. Tell him there's a seat waiting for him. All right. Well, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. That was great.
Hi there. This is Hermie and Permium. If you like that, you're going to love the fact check with Miss Monica.
Oh. Okay. Oh. Oh my gosh. You're excited because you're getting a boat today.
Not today, but
Oh, you're getting a boat.
by the time this is out,
It's Christmas for this little boy, and he's
for the
so
gearhead, I'm going to have
excited.
my first pontoon boat.
You're
and
very excited.
it's gorgeous. I can't, Monica, the leaps that have been made in the pontoon world.
Wow.
I could bore you for hours.
Then see Sim.
Why?
Because by the time you got your boat, it's the best. It's much better. Don't look at me like that.
Oh, I got you. I thought you were saying by the time I get it, like I receive it tomorrow. But yes, by the
No,
time I
in
got in
the
the market
world.
for, yes, there was a huge leap forward. Let me hit you with some of the features.
Okay, let's hear it.
Pontoon. I grew up on a pontoon boat. Dave Barton, my sweet stepdad, he had himself a pontoon boat. 2 steel pontoons on the bottoms.
What is a pontoon?
A pontoon's a big steel,
Rod.
what would I say? Pontoon. I mean, I don't know what other word to
that's-
use. If you could picture a kayak,
Okay.
but completely sealed and it's stainless steel.
Oh, okay.
Or aluminum. And you have 2 in the water and then there's a flat deck. So it doesn't have like a hull. It's not made out of fiberglass like a normal boat. It's just got these 2 pontoons and then a big flat deck on top. They're ideal for maximum passengers.
Right.
But what I got is called a tritoon, Monica. They've added a 3rd pontoon in the middle of the boat. It's very buoyant. And then it has these little runners on the side that actually lift it out of the water at speed, so less drag.
Okay.
Barton's pontoon, which this was standard, you generally have like a 50 horsepower Johnson outboard
That sounds
motor.
lovely.
And it could maybe go 13 miles an hour.
Oh, that sounds great. I thought you just said 50 miles.
With a tailwind. That's Barton's boat. But now we're up to tritoon with the elevation. Mine has a 400 horsepower V10 on the back. So 8 times the amount of motor that Barton's.
So how fast is it gonna go?
I think it'll go about 55 miles an hour.
I thought you just said his went 50 miles an hour.
15, 13.
That's why
with
I
a
got
tailwind.
confused. 15, not 50. It sounded like 50.
Full ski rig on it so I can pull skiers, tubers, everything you used to want a speedboat for is available on this with 13 passengers.
Wow.
Oh, money. The sound system is off the charts. We're going to be dancing on this motherfucker.
That's really fun.
Oh.
Boat culture is
I'm new to it.
you're not new to it.
Well, I'm not new to it, but as an owner.
Sure.
Shout out Ken Kennedy. He's my brains. I'm like, I'm getting a pontoon. He's like, well, these are the two brands. Then he found one. He's like, this one's pretty perfect. So you got to get the easy top. I'm going to add one more thing that'll bore everyone to tears. The pain of owning a boat. Anyone who owns one will know.
We can't talk about the negative.
I'm going to. The worst part of owning a boat is that when you're done driving it, you have to take the cover and put it back over so that the cabin's completely covered. And there's all these snaps and it never fits right. And it's like a fucking 15-minute ordeal every time you get off the boat.
Okay.
So then you get lazy and you go, I'm going back out in a couple hours. I'm not going to put the cover on. And then you don't put the cover on. And then the interior of the boat just gets destroyed and you're slowly destroying this boat.
Oh.
It's the big problem with owning a boat. Mine has an easy cover. Monica, it's a remote control. So when we're driving, I have three options. Bimini, I can have the front of the boat in shade, the back fully exposed to sun, if that's your jam.
Okay.
The back fully shaded and the front open to sun bathing, or full open, so total shade.
Okay.
And then when I get back, I hit a button, the whole fucking top drops down and seals the whole top as if I put the cover on and snapped it with a button.
That's
Again, that didn't
really
exist.
privileged.
It's so privileged.
That is.
And it didn't exist 5 years ago.
Exactly.
I waited just long enough to get into this pontoon game.
I think one of the best things in life is to have experts in your life. I mean, this is, I guess, what we've accumulated over the past 7 years. It's part of the joy is you get experts in your life in different areas. So you always have some, I mean, you don't like asking for help, but I love asking for help. And I like asking the smartest, best, most knowledgeable person for help.
Yeah.
So it's just accumulating a mass of people who are the
Saves
best.
you a lot of time.
So much. In fact, last night, I reached out to someone, an expert, a medical expert.
Oh.
That we met here
Okay.
in this job for help with an important question.
Perimenopause question?
No.
Okay.
But I am gonna
reach out
text
there,
Mary
too.
Claire. Something did come up that I was like, ooh, I need to ask her about that.
How receptive were they?
Extremely.
Ah.
Nicest. Okay, I guess I'll say it. I wonder if I should say it.
Yeah.
I think I can. So I was listening to Nobody's Listening, right? Elizabeth and Andy. Elizabeth was telling a story about her taking her son to urgent care. The doctor comes in, and the description of the doctor is very unsettling.
Okay.
Extremely.
Beard, eye patch, and a hook.
I think would be better.
Okay.
I mean, I've been watching a lot of The Pit and ER,
and
so
ER.
I'm
You're
in
pretty-
this. I'm like, I know what's going on.
Yes.
He has a drug problem.
Oh, okay, sure.
I really do think so.
Oh, okay.
He was like over his scrubs wearing this like puffy vest. It was all stained.
Oh, fuck.
And then he was wearing his mask was stained.
Oh, Jesus.
And then he was like incoherent.
Okay. CTE.
Probably, yeah. So anyway, she is telling this story, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And so I texted her and I said, "Elizabeth, you need to report him."
Oh, report him.
Yeah, I was like,
that's probably right.
I just think because she obviously has the ability to say like, I'm going to get my kid out of here and I'm going to take him to another doctor. But a lot of people there don't.
Yeah.
And they're just going to have to take this doctor at face value. And so I texted Elizabeth. I said, I really, not to scare you, but I think you need to report this. I'm watching ER and like it's bad.
And Pit.
Yeah. And also The Pit.
And Chicago Hope. And
Oh my God, something so excited happened. I thought I was done with The Pit. Like I thought it was over.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's ongoing?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So then I got to watch another episode. And I was
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I was so excited. Anyway, so I DM'd a old guest of ours
Yeah.
and said, what do I do if, is there a way to report? He helped me. He gave me some resources.
Oh, good.
So I sent them to Elizabeth.
We'll see. TBD.
Speaking of ER.
Yeah, you were. Continue. When you're the one speaking of it, you could just continue speaking of it.
I wasn't speaking of it. It came up so naturally.
What have I said? What have I literally, but what have I said? Speaking of pontoon boats. Okay, so speaking of ER.
Guess who was on? I posted about this. So
Dr. Adam. Dr. Adam
Scott.
Dr. Adam Scott.
He was a little patient in there. He was only in like the very beginning of the episode.
Was he great, of course?
Of course he's great. But he's so young. And I was staring and I was like, is that Adam? He had a neck brace on and he was being brought in. So it was kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
And so I had to wait till the credits to double check and it was him.
And then you need a freeze frame and a photo and a post.
Of course.
Yeah, naturally.
He's a friend of the pod.
I gotta promote his episode of ER.
Yeah. And in the episode before that, another friend of the pod, Bradley Whitford. Saddest episode of top 3 saddest episodes of ER total.
Okay. Ding, ding, ding. Bradley Whitford was on an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine that they were watching yesterday.
Oh.
That show is way, way funnier than I had guessed it was. It's quite funny. It's a very good show.
Mike Schur, he doesn't fuck up.
No.
Speaking of Mike Schur.
Speaking of ER.
Speaking of Mike Schur, I was watching ER last night.
Have you guys seen this show Adolescence that's on Netflix?
Oh, so it keeps getting recommended to me. Have you watched it?
It's amazing.
I've seen half of it. It's all oneers also.
Oh.
It's 1 hour oneers.
And isn't it like really intense?
It's about a boy that, like 13-year-old boy that stabs a little girl. And it's his dad like dealing with it.
Yes, I've heard. There's all these articles that say it's flawless.
Okay, I'm going to do it. Maybe when I'm driving the bus home, I'll plow through the whole
This
season.
seems a little intense to watch
It's 4
while you're
episodes.
driving.
4 episodes only.
Oh, it's only 4 episodes.
Hour long.
Okay, so that'll get me 280 miles.
Why don't you just watch it tonight?
Because I have to get in the car at 5 a.m. tomorrow to go to the airport. So I'm not going to watch anything tonight.
Why don't you just try?
Okay, I'll watch it tonight.
Okay.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Okay. Let's get serious. Seth Rogen. So
Yes,
serious.
he's so serious.
I love Seth Rogen.
Me too.
Okay, now, does History of Violence have staircase sex? Yes. Top 10 movies that have stair sex.
Oh, okay, great.
Now, I think it's worth us revisiting. You did bring up that you'd rather have sex on a unicycle than
Yeah.
on the stairs.
Absolutely. And not only would I rather, it's a personal goal
You
now.
want
Once
to
I
now.
thought of it.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Talk about a high wire act. I mean, the stakes would be so high. If everyone reached orgasm in that dynamic, I bet it would be explosive. Because you'd be scared you're going to fall and get a concussion.
I just feel like you wouldn't be able to fully let yourself go.
That's the challenge.
Okay, yeah. History of Violence. Close Enough to Touch.
Never heard of
A
it.
Woman in the Mirror. X Deal.
These,
I know. I am
some of
worried
these
they're porn.
pornography?
I'm worried about
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
but I
okay,
don't know.
okay.
Spanish Fly.
okay, let's talk about Spanish Fly.
Okay, teach us about Spanish Fly because I didn't know what it
You
was.
didn't know what Spanish Fly was.
And you taught me.
In Spanish Fly, and again, I got to be very, very clear about this. This is an urban legend.
Yeah, it's not real.
All growing up, I knew about Spanish Fly. And it wasn't a drug that would knock women out so you could rape them. Let's just be very clear. It was not.
It's not roofie.
This was a magic pill you would give girls that would make them super horny.
Yeah.
And they would find you irresistible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
more like
still
a
a hack.
witchy thing.
Yeah.
Like a love spell.
And probably still some deception. But anyways, that's a urban legend that there's a pill. And then the other one that I was always told growing up, mostly my brother told me this, is that actors, to prevent getting erections, took saltpeter. And I don't know if saltpeter's real and it
What
really
is
does
it?
prevent you from getting an erection. Rob, will you do a perfunctory search of saltpeter?
Potassium nitrate, component of gunpowder. It's been used to
Gunpowder.
prevent blowing of hard cheeses.
Prevented from what? Blowing up hard cheeses?
Blowing of hard cheeses.
What makes hard cheese soft?
Let me
Erections.
search erections.
Yeah, do saltpeter's erections.
The belief that saltpeter can suppress erections is a myth. There's no scientific evidence.
So good. I said it was the equivalent is saltpeter.
This is like Marilyn Manson's ribs.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is worth noting that we were doing an episode of Armchair Anonymous yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And it had occurred to me that I had sex in a stairwell.
Exactly. And last time we fought about this because you thought it was crazy that I said, I think I would definitely rather have sex on the stairs than a unicycle. And then you thought that was crazy. And then it turns out you've done it.
Well, hold on. I don't think you would because you have to imagine how painful it is to have 3 thin points of contact on your body. So your own weight on these 3 very hard, tiny points of contact, then someone else's weight and thrusting on you. It would be insanely painful.
I would expect the guy to kind of prop themselves up also on the stairs. So they're not like whole body weight is on mine. I think you'd be surprised at how good I am at lying on the stairs.
I would be quite surprised because I don't know how you get around the fact that you have these 3 points of contact. Better, huge improvement. But anyway, someone said, well, I bet a lot of people have had sex in stairwells. And then I realized, I had done that.
Yeah.
What a blessing. One of the real blessings of my life.
No, don't say that. No, don't say that. You have children.
One of, not the blessing of my life.
One of how many?
I've had hundreds of blessings in my life. And this is one of them.
Okay.
I was gambling in Las Vegas at the Luxor Casino in my 20s.
Uh-huh.
And I met a very attractive woman from Australia.
Oh, my God.
Yes. And after a couple hours of flirting and drinking at the blackjack table, we excused ourselves. Her
request.
Spanish
fly?
Led me.
Did you?
No.
Are you sure?
Saltpeter. Led me to the staircase at the Luxor, the stairwell, which is a very weird staircase because it's diagonal.
That's right. It's
Diagon Alley.
Diagon Alley. It is a pyramid shape.
Yes. So the staircase is going up like an MC Escher situation. But again, that was not on the stairs. That was like more leaning over one of the railings.
Sure. Listen, what if you had taken saltpeter and she had taken Spanish fly?
That's a match made in hell.
Bad match.
That's the worst. That was me on coke. To be fully honest with you. Yeah. Everyone's horny and then I can't perform.
That's so weird that then you loved that drug because you loved having sex.
I told you that's when, there were numerous times where I had to acknowledge what a problem it had become. Mm-hmm. But yes, there was a moment where I was at a bar and I told the dude get the guy and let's get an 8-ball. And there was a girl there that liked me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is something. You would rather do that drug than have sex with this attractive person. And I, previous to that, would have thought there was nothing I would want to do more than have sex with an attractive person.
And you'd rather poop in the bed.
Say what? You're grabbing. You're grabbing from everywhere.
Speaking of ER.
So.
No, you did poop in the bed once.
That's not relevant to this conversation.
You were on coke.
Yes, an excessive amount.
So that's my point.
Yeah.
Anywho, I'm glad for you that you had sex in the stairwell.
Me too. Me too. One of the blessings.
But
there's blessings all around if you keep your eyes open.
I guess that's right.
If she remembers me and she's hearing this, thank you so much. What a great memory. No?
No, yeah. I just had like a very prudish judgment.
Oh, cool. What was it about? Just sex?
No, it was just like, I don't think she's okay.
Oh my God, Monica.
I know. I'm sorry you asked and I wanted to be honest. I just
slut shaming.
No, I know. That's why.
Oh, I'm glad you're owning it.
I said it was a prudish judgment.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily true, but
you can imagine how.
What if you had killed her? Like
what? What I was a nice boy.
You know.
Right. I don't think murderers, really, that's not how it works with murderers. They're not like, you know what? I'm going to go gambling. If I meet someone who wants to fuck in the stairwell, I might murder them. I don't think that's how it works.
No, that's not how it works. They're there knowing they're going to be charming and Ted Bundy.
I don't even think murderers are gambling and having fun and getting drunk.
No, they are to lure.
They're in their grandma's underpants.
No,
like
not
Brad
Ted
Pitt said
Bundy.
in Seven.
Oh, yeah. Not Ted Bundy. He was hot and out and about.
He was in a cast hanging out by cars, acting like he couldn't get his crutches or something.
Whatever. He was still playing it. He was still luring.
He was playing a victim and luring people.
You don't think anyone's been lured? Please. That's what a lot of roofing is at bars. What?
Okay, we're talking about killers.
Yeah.
And we're talking about roofing.
Well, rapists.
And we're talking about me playing blackjack in Vegas.
No, I'm saying that just because you're having fun in a bar and you're fun doesn't mean you're safe.
Well, I was, though.
I know. I'm not talking about you anymore. Okay?
Okay.
I'm not talking about you.
Okay.
I know.
You're just saying there could be someone drinking at the blackjack table who's a killer.
Yeah, or a rapist.
And then they're using that method to meet people that they'll kill.
Or rape.
Right. And they'll be on all the Vegas cameras with a ton of documentation.
You're going to get in so much trouble for this.
And a lot of documentation that they were talking to their victim. It'd be a really dumb serial killer to get their victims in a Vegas casino because it's so filmed.
Okay. Well,
You want to be out in the woods in a parking lot with a cast on. And
no, a lot of no. They act like they're going to hook up with someone and then they rape them or kill them. This is common.
Okay.
So my point is, I just don't know if she's still with us.
I think she is. She was really a cool, smart
I'm sure she was.
gal having fun. But you can imagine how neatly it filed into my whole thing about Anglos, right? Because the only other really time that had happened in such an aggressive manner was when I was in 10th grade, the aforementioned snowboard trip story with my friend from Manchester.
Right. That was in a stairwell too?
No, but it was an English gal. And now I had an Australian gal. And I was like, something's going on with these gals. They're very assertive.
Right.
Yeah. It funneled nicely into my stereotype.
Right. Okay. Oh my God. The next movie is Impulse. The Thomas Crown Affair.
Oh, there we go. That's my favorite.
Serve the People, Misty, The Room.
Okay, so I have heard of 3 of those 10 movies.
Yeah, me too. Okay, existing record for a oneer. Several movies have been filmed to appear as if they are shot in one continuous, uninterrupted take, including 1917, Birdman, Children of Men, Silent House. Okay, now hold on, I'm going to pull up another article here.
Okay.
Goodfellas.
Yeah.
That's 3 minutes.
Feels so much longer.
Yeah, well, it was early. It was early days of oneers. Creed, 4 minutes. Atonement, 5.5 minutes. Children of Men, 6 minutes. 1917, 8 minutes. Extraction, 12 minutes. Birdman, 15 minutes.
Now we're talking.
Gravity, 17 minutes.
Ooh, we're climbing.
Boiling Point, 92 minutes.
Was Boiling Point a John Woo movie?
Nope. It's Stephen Graham from Adolescence is in it.
No!
He's the lead in it.
So sim.
About a London restaurant.
Oh my God, I'm cutting that. Like you said, I'm cutting that.
Too scared
much.
of cutting it.
It's too much.
Russian Ark, 96 minutes.
Wow. They're so rewarding when you are directing one and everything goes right.
Yeah.
Nothing really feels like that. Stunt, like when a stunt goes right, that's a really, like the hardest I've ever celebrated was in Chips when my friend drove a Humvee through a motorhome and drove it right through the center of it and broke it in half and made it through the other side at full speed as explosions were going off. And I was on the 6th Street Bridge. And I screamed with elation like you can't imagine.
That's really fun.
Highlight of another blessing of my life.
There's a lot of stunt people in your movie.
Yeah.
And Chips?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the whole
There's
fucking
like
movie.
100 people listed.
Stunts.
So many stunts.
I'm listed as a stunt performer for Michael Pena.
You did brown face?
I did all the driving in his getaway car scene.
That's appropriation.
I didn't do brown face. I just went to a tanning, spray tanning, and went too far.
Okay, that's it for Seth. We love Seth.
Oh, God, we love him. I can't wait for number 4.
Me too. Bye.
Bye. Love you.